Hello, and welcome to Hello Sister, a Vampire Diaries podcast with a magical twist.
We're your hosts, Christina Rosso-Schneider
and Brenna Dinon. Christina, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty well. We're recording on a Friday, which is always so much fun.
We love Fridays.
Brenna made us some margaritas, which we actually haven't had a sip.
No,
I haven't had a sip yet. Cheers.
And there's a good reason for that. But before we get into that, how are you just in general?
I'm doing okay. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of extracurriculars, as they say. But one thing that's exciting that I don't think we've talked about on the podcast yet is I recently mentioned that I'm doing book edits, so that's very cool. But then also my juvenile horror novel is officially on submission.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh, that's so exciting. I can't wait.
I can't wait either. It's funny. My agent keeps saying, like, in general, this is just like a really tough time in publishing, and juvenile fiction in general is just like the market is being incredibly like fickle and just like picky right now. So he was like, just trying to give me expectations.
Sure.
And I was like, yeah, but my tarot cards keep saying really positive things. Like, I asked the cards just out of the blue a couple weeks ago if I'd get an offer on the book this year, and I got the Page of Pentacles, which I thought seemed very positive, right?
Yeah.
And then you've been telling me all along, you're like, I just have a really good feeling about this book.
I do have a good
feeling
about it.
And so I feel like that and tarot, I'm like,
the kids need it.
The kids need it. So
if I were a juvenile, I would want to, or if I had a juvenile child to give it to, I would give it to them. So, you know what I mean? And I'm sure we can find some. But no, that's so exciting. Congratulations for all your hard work. I know you've been really crunching on that and also doing all our work here at Hello Sister. So it's been a lot.
Sure. How are you doing?
I'm doing good now. It's been a whirlwind. And I mean, we had recorded back like a few weeks ago for our previous episode, but it's just been a whirlwind of things. Some good things, some not so good things, some sad family stuff, but we're working through it, and we're doing okay, and we're just trying to keep on keeping on. And honestly, I'm just glad that Mercury retrograde is over. That's the real.
And we both had flight issues.
We both had flight issues. I slept in an airport, and I traveled for over 24 hours for a flight. Flights plural, because I needed 2 flights, a flight and then a connecting flight, to get back from a bachelorette that I was on, and it was a terrible time. But I think we might have talked about that in our last episode, but it's just been crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to be here, and you know what? This is our penultimate episode of season 1. Like, I can't even believe it that we are here.
I know.
And we'll be saying the same thing literally tomorrow, because we are recording our last 2 episodes back to back.
We sure are. Double header.
It's almost like you should sleep over tonight, because then we can just do it again.
I honestly hadn't thought about it, but I think I was like, you know what? I think it's probably good for me to sleep in my own bed,
sleep in your own bed.
I'll be very busy.
Yeah.
This weekend.
And you got to see your babies, and there's just a lot happening.
Yeah.
And
yeah. But I was like, that honestly, you know what? In the future,
maybe
we should do a Friday just slumber party into Saturday recording.
I agree. If we find ourselves in this kind of pickle of
or
recording,
if we choose to do it,
or if it works out really well and we're like, wow, we're so energized from doing 2 episodes back to back, then mayhaps we will. But yeah, like because usually we record at least like 1 episode a week, maybe sometimes bookending, but just due to some of our travel snafus, we were not able to do that this time. So we're doing it back to back. But I think it's actually really great, because it's allowing us to kind of really relish in these last 2 episodes, which will be fun.
Yeah.
But before we get into our episode, we did want to call out a little special holiday on our Wheel of the Year for all our witchy and witchy adjacent folks out there. Do you want to tell us about it?
Yes. So this episode is coming out just a couple of days before Lammas or Lunasa, which is a part of the pagan Wheel of the Year. It's the first of 3 harvest festivals. So the second one is Mabon, which takes place on the fall equinox, and then Samhain, which is Halloween. So this is a great time to start to think about what you've grown or what you've been working towards this first really like half of the year, and thinking about what needs to be weeded, thinking about what you want to really put your energy into, and also celebrating all of the hard work that you've done, what you've harvested. And this ties into what's happening in the natural world. I was saying off camera to Brenna that because our winter was so cold, like all of my crops, because I have a large vegetable garden, all of my crops except for my apples, they're doing very, very well. And all of my lettuces and stuff. But like my tomatoes, my peppers, all of those are usually I'm harvesting them like crazy at this time of the summer. And instead they're like just starting to do stuff. But typically it's also, it's tying into what is happening for those who are growing things and have been planting things. Some additional things you can do for Lammas. A big thing is baking bread, or even just having bread, and maybe sharing it with people that you love, that you're grateful for. You can also make corn husk dolls, which is really fun and actually super easy. So those are just a couple ways that you can celebrate Lammas, which falls on August 1st. I don't think I had said that.
Yeah, I was like looking up, I'm like, I don't know. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's always on the 1st, isn't it?
It is always on the 1st.
Yeah, I know sometimes certain days fluctuate. I feel like the solstice is, no. I feel like summer solstice has fluctuated at times.
It can be between a couple days for the solstices. And then I think for the equinoxes too,
I think
they're always like
true.
Right around. So it's like a couple days.
Right, yeah.
Mabon's always, the fall equinox is always like right around my dad's birthday, which is September 23rd.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Happy birthday to your dad! Almost. When we get there, we'll make sure.
It is that like when you get to the end of July, you're like, it's September now, and I'm feeling that.
Me too. So, wasn't it like 100 days to Halloween? Like just recently?
Yes, this week, the week that we're recording. Yes.
So very exciting stuff. Okay, so definitely celebrate Lammas if that calls to you. I know that maybe I will try to make gluten-free bread for the first time. Maybe that will be my Lammas thing.
I love that for you.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, Alex and I we are always at a cabin in the Catskills right around Lammas. And so we bake bread from scratch, and then we make this like veggie sausage and corn pasta dish, because corn feels like, with corn husks and everything, feels very Lammas-y. And then sometimes I'll make corn husk dolls.
I love that.
And do like a taro spread and stuff.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm excited for your trip to the cabin.
I can't wait to disappear into the woods.
I always just want to disappear into the woods.
Truly.
Okay, so you know what it is, the normal stuff we always say at the top of the episodes, ways to support us. So as always, sharing the podcast with your friends, leaving a review, subscribing on our YouTube. You can support Christina's business at A Novel Idea on Passyunk in Philly. You can buy from their store online. You can buy from them in person. Doesn't matter. Whatever you are able to do. And specifically buying Christina's books that she does have out, which are a few great texts like Creole Conjure and She is a Beast. And am I missing any other ones?
No, I mean, I'm in some like anthologies and stuff,
and some anthologies that her work is in, and of course, if you want to support like both of them, we do tarot, as we were just talking. We do tarot together. We'll read together at events. We read independently together at independently together. We read independently in our own time at events. I often read at Christina's shop sometimes.
You sure do.
Christina's busy being a bookseller and running her business, I will read tarot at her shop. Just any and all of the above. The shares and the getting us out there is like really big though, especially for this podcast to grow and continue to grow, which we hope it does.
Yes, absolutely.
And then our last and final.
So we are on Instagram and Threads at Hello Sister Podcast. And then a reminder that we can always be emailed at hellosisterpodcast1864@gmail.com.
All right. That was a little slightly lengthy opening, but that's all good. Let's dive into episode 21.
Let's. All right, let's dive into the Vampire Diaries, episode 21, called Isobel. This episode was directed by J. Miller Tobin and written by Brian Young, with a Y, and Caroline Dries, and it aired on May 6th, 2010. As always, we love to share the IMDb synopsis. So for this week, it's Isobel returns to town and stuns Alaric with her attitude and her demands that he arrange, and her demands, which really should be, and she demands that he arrange a meeting with Elena, but clearly IMDb
doesn't. What is this? Wait, also with her attitude and her demands.
Yeah. I mean, I like reading it that way, but I mean, yes.
Yeah.
I also, and I don't remember if it's because we were also prepping the season 1 finale, but I was on like the wiki page and there were like some things where it said like Damon where it should have been Stefan and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think in like one of the transcripts, and I was like,
so confusing.
I'm watching closely.
I know, we're watching closely.
But I was like, you know what? People mess that up too, just like we sometimes.
Yeah, just like us. I do that sometimes too when I'm looking at the transcript and also looking at the subtitles when on the episodes. I'm like,
they do not always match.
They don't always match. And sometimes they're both the subtitles and the transcript's wrong, and the people are saying something different in the episode. So you never know. It's okay. People are human. But I just have to call out that this, even IMDb notices that there's tudes in this family.
Whole lot of tudes passed down since at least 1864.
I can't. It's incredible. All right, let's go to our opening scene. So this one is called Because I Wasn't Lost, Rick. And we are at the Mystic Grill. Picking up right where we left off in episode 20, Isobel tells Rick it's nice to see him and that he looks good. She comments on the fact that he's a high school teacher and asks how that is. Not interested in catching up, Rick asks Isobel where she's been. She tells him she doesn't have any reasons or explanations that will satisfy him. She says she wanted this, meaning becoming a vampire, and he asks if it's that simple, and she says it is. She then tells him he was supposed to mourn her and move on, but he argues that she was his wife and that he loved her, so how could he not search for her? She says the title of the scene and that she, saying that she wasn't lost. Isobel then changes the subject, bringing up Elena. She scribbles a note and says she knows Elena has been looking for her, and she offers Rick a note saying she wants him to arrange a meeting between them. She looks at the note and tosses it, or he looks at the note and tosses it, saying, "Screw you, you selfish bitch." Rick. He gets up and leaves, and leaves Isobel standing at the bar. Outside, Alaric walks to his car and unlocks it. And we hear a whooshing sound, and as he turns, we see Isobel. He asks what she wants from him, and she says she told him, and he fires back that he's not going to do anything for her. She vamp speeds over to him, pushes him up against the car, and chokes him in full vamp face, saying, "You better tell Elena that I want to meet her, or I'm going to start killing the citizens of this town, one by one, and I'm going to start with your history students. Got it?" And she lets go of him, and he falls to the pavement. She walks away, and he grabs the piece of paper and stands up looking after her. Cue title card. Wow.
Yeah.
What a scene.
So it is quite an opening. Isobel's not playing around, Rick, but I gotta say she's pretty fabulous.
She is pretty fabulous. She looks really hot.
Yeah, she does.
Like she's like hot and bitchy. And
it's a good combination.
Yeah. I love being hot and bitchy. If I'm allowed to be. But I mean, I think we all should be, you know what I mean? That's what I mean. But it's very Catherine-esque.
Sure,
and
sure seems like it.
And it's the two. So, but she does seem to have a soft spot for Rick.
Yeah. I mean, they were married.
So, yeah. So. But I mean, you would think that, we'll talk about it when like Rick's actually talking about her, but it does, at least to me, convey that she cares, right?
Yeah. What do we think is on the piece of paper? Do we think maybe there's an address on it? Because we never actually see what she scribbled down.
Well, we know where they end up finally meeting, which is literally right at the fucking grill.
The grill.
Which is actually hilarious that she's like, "Here, write down to meet with me." And it's like, what is it, times? Like time slots?
Maybe she just drew like fangs. was
or just a note from herself to give to Elena to be like, I want to meet you.
But she didn't scribble for that long.
No.
I don't know.
Mystic Grill. Do you know of it?
I can't. All right. Next scene, the telephone game. We are at the Gilbert residence and then back at the Salvatore boarding house. Elena's on the phone with Damon, telling him she's supposed to help build the Miss Mystic float for the Founders Day parade, and if she doesn't, she'll face the wrath of Caroline. She says she wanted to check in first. Damon says he's doing great, and she corrects him, saying she called to check in on Stefan. Damon says he's terrible, and momentarily Elena believes him until Damon adds he's just back to boring, straight-laced, off the junk. You've successfully cured him of anything that was interesting about his personality. She reminds Damon that he helped her with Stefan, and he replies, I hate myself. Damon then changes the subject, asking if Uncle John mentioned anything about his field trip with Alaric. She says no, she's been avoiding him. She asks what Uncle John is up to, and Damon says he doesn't know, but he'd love it if Elena could find out for him. Stefan walks out of the bathroom, clearly having just showered, and looks confused. Elena says she has to go. She's late. Damon tells her to have fun with the Mystic Queen. He knows he did. She scoffs at this and hangs up. Stefan puts his hands up in a gesture, asking what just happened, and Damon hands him his phone and says Elena called before walking away. Okay, so first off, I was so annoyed the first time I watched the scene because I thought Elena called Damon to check on Stefan, but no, she actually called her boyfriend's phone, and Damon, being Damon, and I called him a jackass in my notes. It's not just reserved for Uncle John. No. Answered his phone. Also, I know Elena scoffs at the comment that Damon makes about having had fun with Miss Mystic Falls, which is Caroline, but I think it's really fucked up that Damon says stuff like this about Caroline and that Elena allows it and is still buddy-buddy with him. Do not let him talk about your friend that way.
Yeah. It's so weird. I don't like it. Like, there are weird things that, there's another thing later on, and I'll call it out when it comes up, but in this episode where it's like Damon has these little spurts of things that he says that are just not really aligning with where Damon is, like, currently. Like, I know Damon's been tough, like, has made some tough choices throughout the season, but it is really weird to me when they have these, like, random things that he says that just feels like he's, like, completely backslid into, like, an earlier version of himself in the beginning of the season. Does that make sense?
I agree. And right? I think it clashes even more against moments where we start to see him being a little bit more personable.
Right. Like, it's weird. And we'll talk more about, I mean, I know for sure, just because we obviously have prepped both episodes before we recorded, and I know it's definitely true in the next one. Yeah. So we'll definitely talk about it then. But yeah, I just, like, it was just not necessary for him to comment about Caroline. Just full stop. And they're still fucking flirting.
They're absolutely still fucking flirting. These two. Jinx.
I can't. Oh, wait, look at us. These two. Look at us. We forgot to even mention our matching shirts that Christina got for my birthday.
From Spain.
They are very crafty, and we love them.
And they say "Hello, Sister" on them.
Yeah, "Hello, Sister," and I love them so much as I love the mug that we also unveiled in our last episode. So, all right, next scene. Floats, frenemies, and channeling Scarlet. We are at Mystic Falls High. Giving Up the Gun by Vampire Weekend is playing, and we are back at school. In a courtyard we haven't seen before, students work on banners and signs. Alaric passes out assignments to Matt, Tyler, and a few randos for the History Department's Founders Day float. They're recreating the Battle of Willow Creek. He nominates Tyler as head of production design because of his talent as an artist. Tyler tries to get out of it, but Rick sees Elena and Stefan and tells him to pick his team and to not screw it up, and then walks away. Tyler asks Matt if he wants to help him, and he says no. It's clear that things are still frosty between them. Meanwhile, in the cafeteria, Alaric asks Elena and Stefan to come with him. He tells them that they need to talk, and Stefan and Elena look at each other before following. Across the room, Caroline and Bonnie sit together. Caroline pulls up last year's Miss Mystic float on Bing. Of course, always Bing.
Always Bing.
She shows it to Bonnie, telling her that this is exactly what they don't want to do. I love her so much. And Bonnie's response is, ew. Bonnie asks what Caroline is thinking, and she replies, Southern classic elegance. And Bonnie, slightly annoyed, asks, Gone with the Wind? And Caroline asks how she knew, and Bonnie says, You channel Scarlet daily. Not missing a beat, Caroline says, That's so true, and laughs. Caroline then looks around the cafeteria and asks where Elena is, and clearly frustrated that Elena's just dipping on them, as she's kind of been doing all season, to be honest. Since she's supposed to be helping, and Bonnie says she doesn't know, and Caroline, our queen of clarity, asks what the deal is. Bonnie plays dumb, and Caroline, not having it, says, You and Elena are fighting. Spill. Bonnie rolls her eyes, saying it's nothing, to which Caroline insists that it's not nothing. And the whole float is about friends creating something together, and everyone is fighting. She is not having that. She points out that Matt and Tyler hate each other. Bonnie and Elena are on the outs, and she does not like it. She sighs and says she can't fix it if she doesn't know what's wrong. Bonnie apologizes, but says she can't talk about it.
All right. Well, first things first, everyone's back this episode. Yay.
That's great.
We'll talk about this more as we get into hot takes and final thoughts, but it's exciting to see more or less the full cast in this episode.
For sure.
I also love that Caroline can laugh at herself in this moment with Bonnie with the Scarlet comment. I love Scarlett O'Hara. I'm just saying.
I haven't watched Gone with the Wind in a really, really long time, but
I mean, it's like 4 hours long.
I feel like I watched it literally in like grade school.
Oh, I actively watched it growing up.
And
tried to read the book twice, but it's over 1,000 pages.
Big old book. But it's like the connection to Gone with the Wind has the 1864 of it all, like with it being like Civil War coded, right?
And it's just as problematic.
Of course.
But I love the romance, and Clark Gable is one of my favorite men of all time. Besides Idris Elba, all of my favorite men are dead.
Oh,
literally.
Idris, stay with us.
Stay alive forever. Please. I love you. But yeah, Clark Gable, in case people are interested, Clark Gable, Gregory Peck, plays Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird, and he makes the hipster glasses popular.
Yeah. Did you see the new senator that kind of looks like him? Have you seen John Ossoff?
I'll have to.
You have to
look him up. Okay.
I think that's his name. I might mispronounce it. I'm sorry. I'm not.
I'll check it out.
But
yeah, those are my. And then Cary Grant. Classic.
Yeah, there you go.
They're all hot. Okay. Last thing about this scene is that I love Caroline isn't standing for all of this. And I looked it up because I was like, I wonder what her sun sign is. So her birthday is October 10th, which makes her a Libra sun. So it totally tracks that she feels uncomfortable with everyone fighting and that she naturally leads into the role of mediator.
I love that. That's so true. And the air sign of it all as well. Mm-hmm. And you're a Libra rising.
And moon.
There. See, that's why you and Caroline
are kindred spirits.
Kindred. You really are.
All right. Next scene. What's with all the furrowed brows? We're at Mystic Falls High in Alaric's classroom. Damon walks down a dark hallway to Ric's room. Always a dark hallway.
Oh, the lights are never on in this fucking hallway.
Where Ric, Steph, and Elena are talking. Ric thanks Damon for coming, and Damon starts to joke about being late because the dog ate his homework, but then he notices everyone's furrowed brows. Ric tells him he saw Isobel last night. Damon is surprised by this and asks if she's in town, which Ric confirms with a nod. Damon then looks at Elena. All right, next scene. Stop being such a hater. We are at Isobel's residence. All right. A car drives up a driveway with a foreclosure sign. The house is a large mansion. Uncle John gets out of his car in a baddie fit.
It's truly a baddie fit.
He looks great.
He does.
Black leather jacket, black shirt, black jeans, and Ray-Bans. He walks into the house without knocking and walks to a bedroom where a man and woman, both in their underwear with vampire bites, dance. Isobel sits on a bench at the end of the bed, watching. Very sexy.
This is very sexy.
The music, everything. When Isobel sees John, she tells him he's late. He tells her he didn't realize there was a schedule and asks what's with the sideshow. Isobel tells him the woman is Cherie, a jazz singer she picked up in a blues bar in Brooklyn. And she got the cowboy, whose name she doesn't share at this point, but we later learn is Frank, at a gay rodeo in Amarillo. John questions that he's gay, and Isobel says, not right now. She adds that he's very good to her. She then speaks to in French to Sherry, telling them to leave. Clearly compelled, they walk out. Isobel tells John she's teaching them French. She then tells him she can smell the judgment coming off of him. He insists they're people and she's treating them like dolls. She replies, if we're going to be partners, you really have to stop being such a hater. He tells her they're partners because they share a mutual goal and to not ever confuse that for him accepting her lifestyle. She shoots back at him, my lifestyle? He turns away from her, clearly frustrated. Isobel changes the subject then, saying she assumes he still doesn't have the invention. He tells her he'll get it, like he said he would. She brings up all of his failures, threatening to expose Damon and killing Pearl, and says she doesn't think his plan is working. He tells Isobel her being here isn't going to help anything. She vamp slaps him, and he falls to the ground. She says, you failed, John. I'm going to take it from here. She leaves then, and Uncle John pulls himself up against the wall and catches his breath.
Okay.
I love this.
For someone I want to punch in the face often, John kind of looks hot here in this leather jacket, shades, and driving up to this foreclosed home. Like, he looks good.
Yeah, it's doing it for me.
He looks good. Uncle John, you look good.
Yeah. It was so silly when Anna called Uncle John a hater in the previous episode. He's a hater, Jeremy. I'm always going to say it like that, even though she just said he's a hater, Jeremy. And equally silly here, especially since Isabel's a grown-ass woman.
Yeah, like, that is...
Do vampires just say hater?
Like, what do that...
Who... I actually feel like I need to double check if it was the same writers on the episode, because one of them loves the word hater.
So, it's like very confusing to me. Do we think Isobel is a bi baddie?
Oh yeah.
Or a queer baddie? I think so.
Yeah.
Because I just like love that for her, even though she's a bitch. But like, I'm here for it.
I just also feel like, and they explore this a little bit in True Blood, that like kind of like the like sex and hunger and all of these things just connect. And so like, yes, technically like Eric and Bill, when we see them, appear to be straight, but it also seems like they've probably been with men too.
Yeah.
At least like definitely Eric. And so it's just like, if you're going to be alive forever, why not try everything?
I agree. Like, I just think that that's the thing that and that's something that I really love about like vampires in general, is that they are like, I feel like inherently queer, because like there's just
sex positive
and there's just a lot of rawness there that I think, and just openness, I think. And I think, because I feel like that comes up a lot in so many vampire stories, where it does feel like the sex just oozes like, oh, that sounds very fun. The sexiness oozes or like oozes in a way that it's like, it doesn't matter what your preference is, it's like everything's good here, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like, I love that about that.
Yeah.
You know, or about vampires. All right. Anyway, next scene, dead vampire wives love their killing sprees, and we are at Mystic Falls High in Alaric's classroom. Damon asks Ric if Isobel and John are working together, and he says he didn't ask. Damon asks about the invention, to which Ric says he didn't ask. He asks about the tomb vampires, and Ric says he doesn't know. Damon gets in his face about him not getting useful information, and Ric argues that he was a little too distracted by his dead vampire wife to ask any questions. Damon asks what Isobel wants, and Elena responds that she wants to see Elena. While Damon looks at Elena, Stefan shares that Alaric is supposed to arrange the meeting. He adds that they don't know why or what she wants, and then to Elena, Damon says, you don't have to see her if you don't want to. Stefan looks from his brother to Elena. Elena says she doesn't really have a choice, and Ric adds that Isobel has started to go on a killing spree, and Damon says, I take that's not okay with you guys. And Elena says she wants to meet her birth mom. If she doesn't, she'll regret it. Okay, so here's just like my one quick note about this is that like I know Damon can still be a dick, but like again, like what we were saying from the earlier commentary on Caroline in the beginning of this episode, it's just like weird. It's a weird place joke for him talking about like killing townspeople when that's just like not really been his vibe for the last like latter part of the season, even if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's just like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's confusing for sure.
Yeah.
All right, next scene, genetic curiosity. We're at the grill. We get a shot of the clock tower and a banner that says Mystic Falls celebrating 150 years. The camera then pans to the grill before we're inside with Elena. She sits at a table by herself waiting for Isobel, and she's clearly on edge. Stefan's over at the pool table, and she double checks that he can hear her with his vampiring and then thanks him for coming with her. She admits that she's nervous, but she's happy that he's there. She tells him she loves him, and he mouths that he loves her. A woman walks by and Stefan's expression intensifies. It's Isobel. She takes her time putting down her jacket and belongings without saying a word to Elena. An icon. She sits and sighs before smiling and saying, "Hello, Elena." Dramatic music plays. After a commercial break, Isobel tells Elena she looks just like Catherine, and it's eerie. Elena's surprised that she knows Catherine, and Isobel shares that Catherine found her after she turned. She chalks it up to genetic curiosity. She then adds that Catherine would be fascinated by Elena. Elena notices the necklace around Isobel's neck and asks if that's her daylight necklace. Isobel confirms that Catherine helped her obtain it. Elena asks who her father is, and Isobel says it's not important. He was a teenage waste of space. Elena says a name would be nice, and Isobel says it would, wouldn't it? She says that Elena asks a lot of questions. Elena then asks why Isobel compelled that man to kill himself after he told Elena to stop looking for her. Isobel tells her, traumatic impact. Wish it would have been more effective. Elena asks her if human life means that little to her. Isobel smiles and says it means nothing to her. It's just being part of what I am. Elena argues that she knows other vampires. Isobel brings up Stefan over by the pool table. She calls him by name. Elena and Stefan share a look. Isobel then asks, why Stefan? Why didn't you go for Damon? Or do you enjoy them both, like Catherine did? Elena's speechless, and Stefan looks upset. All right, so Isobel knows Catherine. Mm-hmm. She's also a lot. But kind of like Uncle John, I dig it. But I do feel for Elena, though, that this is her first meeting with her birth mom.
Yeah, and as you were reading it over again, just a thought popped in my mind. I don't think Elena's to be fair, I don't think Elena's asking that many questions. It's like
she's really not.
For someone who does ask some pretty.
I'd ask these questions.
These are pretty solid questions. Mm-hmm. They're not like when she told Stefan that it's too much to remember about things that she already knows about. I feel like this is fair. Yeah. This is fair for her to be asking these things. But it's definitely a jarring meeting, and it is tough to see her have to like go through this weird thing with this her like asshole mother that is like her birth mother. So
yeah.
Also like, how are there enough daylight rings, necklaces, or other jewelry items to go around? Like, I guess if you're in Catherine's orbit, you get one. Like, it just feels like you get a daylight thing, you get a daylight thing, and you, and you, and you, if you are loyal to me. But it's like, how does she have all these things? Did, like, Emily just spell a bunch of daylight?
Maybe she knows other witches.
Potentially. Probably.
But we don't know.
We don't know.
But it does seem... You get a daylight ring and you get a daylight necklace.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, like literally, I was like Oprah over here just handing them all out. It's just crazy. All right. Anyway, on to our next scene. Turn it off. And we are at Mystic Falls Town Square. Alaric and Damon stand in the town square while Elena and Isobel talk. Damon is clearly anxious and says they should be in there, but Ric says Isobel made it clear that they were not to step inside. Damon says he's not going to kill her in a crowded restaurant. Ric says he's not going to kill her at all. Damon questions Ric, wanting to protect Isobel after she ruined his life, to which Ric says, she's my wife, and Damon gives him a look, and he corrects himself, saying, was my wife. He tells Damon he looked for the woman he married and she wasn't there. He adds, whoever that is, she's cold and detached. Damon says Isobel's given up her humanity, and Ric says he doesn't get that because Stefan has his humanity and he's a good guy. And then says, and you're a dick and you kill people and I still see something human in you. But with her, there was nothing. Damon shares that I'm sorry, I just like can't, it like actually is so,
it's such a good line.
But it's not only that it's a good line, but it's like Ric is yada-yadaing all of the horrible shit that fucking Damon's done, being like, but you're still a good guy. While his wife hasn't even like done anything Totally, other than like compel
I
that
think
one
it's
guy.
just how cold she is,
Yeah.
you know,
But
and that he sees some humanity in Damon. But
let's level here. In those flashbacks, she feels a little cold even before she turns.
yeah, she does. And obviously we'll talk about it more as
Yeah.
we see more of her. But I also, if I was coming and seeing my, I mean, I guess kind of they're like probably still legally married. I don't understand.
I
like,
mean, I guess if she's dead,
undead.
they're
I don't understand.
I don't know what the legality.
I don't know what the legality of that is, but okay, like if I was seeing an ex for the first time in a couple years, I would want to look hot. I would want to be cold. Like I would want to be an ice queen. So I also wonder like how much of it is a persona she's putting on.
Yeah.
And I think we can talk about that more once we see more of her in this episode.
Yeah. And when we get to our folklore section, when we talk about what I'm about to talk about in this moment. So after Ric kind of like says all of this to Damon shares that vampires can turn it off like a button you can press, meaning their humanity. He says that Stefan is different and wants the whole human experience. He wants to feel every episode of How I Met Your Mother. Damon says the problem with his brother is that a vampire's instinct is to not feel. He tells Ric that Isobel chose an easier route, the no guilt, no shame, no regret, and he asks Ric if he would turn it off if he would turn it off if he could. And Ric says that Damon hasn't turned it off, and Damon replies, "Of course I have, Ric. It's why I'm so fun to be around."
And so we will talk more about this in folklore and in our hot takes and final thoughts. But it's the first time we're really getting this explained to us, so that's cool.
Yeah, I am excited to talk about this, and specifically, like as you were saying, like we move through the episode and like getting to talk about it later will be fun to examine because I think I agree with you about like the Ice Queen thing, and I'm excited to talk more about it.
Amazing. Next scene, Hard Truths from Mommy Dearest. We're back inside the grill. Elena asks Isobel why she wanted to meet her, and Isobel says because she's curious about her. She then admits the real reason is she wants what Uncle John wants, Jonathan Gilbert's invention. Elena asks how she knows her uncle, and she shares that she used to spend a lot of time in Mystic Falls when she was younger, and that John had a crush on her for years. Also, he was the first person to tell her about vampires. Elena asks what made Isobel want to be one, to which she says, "It's a very long list of reasons, Elena, all of which I'm sure you've thought about." Elena shakes her head no, and Isobel tells her that's her first lie. She then tells Elena that it's inevitable that she'll get old and Stefan won't. Forever doesn't last very long when you're human. Elena, clearly upset by this, says she doesn't have what Isobel is looking for and stands to leave. Isobel grabs her by the arm and tells her to sit down and to tell Stefan, who has started making his way over, to walk away. Elena sits back down and nods to Stefan to fall back. Isobel, pleased with herself, repeats that she wants the invention. Elena repeats that she doesn't have it. Isobel says she knows that, but Damon does, and Elena is going to get it for her. Elena tells her he won't give it to her, and Isobel tells her, then the blood will be on your hands. Isobel stands and gets her things. As she walks away, she tells Elena it was nice to meet her. It's not funny, but it's just like, nice to meet you. And it's like, oh my God, Elena sits there in tears, and Stefan makes his way over to her. At the same time, Bonnie comes into the grill. Elena sees Bonnie and stands. Bonnie watches her cry, and then sees Stefan in the background and turns and walks away. All right, so this is a very spicy convo with Isobel. She's putting Elena in the hot seat, and I love it. But again, I do feel for Elena having this conversation with her biological mom, but it's still really enjoyable television.
Yeah, I agree that she's like bringing up some obvious pain points like her and Stefan's relationship and just the fact that Elena will age. Like if, she's not a vampire, like she will age and that's going to be a thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then this is, so we're really dangling the point of Elena's parentage out there, and we'll discuss when it's time, but we're, as I wrote, dangling.
Yeah, dangling. And then also, like, Bonnie, that is cold.
Yeah.
I both appreciate her maintaining her boundaries, but also this is just sad for our girl Elena and for their friendship at this moment.
Yeah, she's getting thrown some hard ones at the moment. And I do feel bad for her. I know we always rag on Elena a lot, but like she's getting tussled around right now, and it's tough. Yeah. Tough look for our girl. Okay. Next scene, unreturned calls and uneaten sandwiches. We're at the Gilbert residence. Jeremy walks into the kitchen in the middle of leaving a voicemail for Anna. Jenna is at the table making a sandwich. When he hangs up, Jenna asks how Anna is, and she says she likes that girl. She has fire. I like the way that she says it. She's like, she has fire. Jeremy says he doesn't know and shares that Anna won't return his calls. Uncle John walks in and, having overheard this, asks Jeremy if he's having girl trouble. Jeremy backpedals, saying no, Anna just owes him a call, and John asks if that's the girl he saw Jeremy with at the Founders Pageant, and Jeremy confirms that it is. John asks if the two of them are getting pretty hot and heavy, and then asks when Jeremy last saw her. Jeremy and Jenna share a look, and Jeremy asks his uncle why. John says he's just making conversation and adds that no one else in the house likes him, and says he can talk to Jeremy, especially if he needs someone to talk to about girls. Jenna says, "Oh, please, I'm eating," and walks away. Jenna!
You know what? This actress is getting so little screen time right now, and she's making the most of it.
She really is. Bless up to, I forget, Sarah Canning, I think is her name. Yeah, she's trying. I mean, like, she's doing what she can with her minimal lines, because they really have put Jenna, like, kind of in, like, the back burner right now with all these other things going on. John asks Jeremy how well he knows Anna, and Jeremy, and like when I was rewatching this episode, he goes, pretty well. Like, it's like so intense, like just the way he's like extremely well, or however he says it, and it's just like in his uncle's face. And then Uncle John tells Jeremy that he can talk to him about anything, and that he's here to answer any questions that he has, and can help him in any way, and will help him in any way he can. Jeremy asks why, and John says, because your dad would want me to. And Jeremy has a reaction to this, and then says he's good, and leaves the kitchen.
I feel like it's such a teenager thing to be like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why do you want to help me? Like, oh my God. Obviously, John is trying to get information on Anna's whereabouts after he killed her mom, Pearl. But I also do feel like he is being genuine when he tells Jeremy that he's there to help any way that he can.
Yeah. And you know what? I did like my like comment to that is like saying, like, agreeing with you that he definitely is there to help Jeremy. And then, you know what I was just thinking is, after like my final rewatch of the episode, it really feels like the two of them they are saying the thing without saying the thing, because I think in that moment, I think, like, even though they don't know that for sure with each other, I think they both have a really strong suspicion about, like, what the other, like, they have an idea of each other, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think John knows that Jeremy knows what Anna is. Yeah. Like, and then when he's like extremely, there's just this very like tense moment between them, even though it can still be read like such like a teenager coded thing. But I think it can serve both ways, where he's also being like, yeah, I know she's a vampire, so what? Like, you know what I mean? Almost saying that without saying it. Or at least that's kind of how I was reading it the last time I watched it.
Yeah, I love that. All right, next scene. Kill the messenger. We're at Isabel's residence. Damon, shirtless, plays...
Oh.
Yeah, I have the app count list, so don't worry.
Oh,
we'll get
no,
there.
I mean, just not, but I mean...
Just the scene.
Oh.
Damon, shirtless, plays strip poker with Cherie. He says that Cherie won again and teases that he hopes he wears good underwear. He stands to remove his pants. Damon, app count 5, which is so low, but it's always really worthwhile when we get it, so... I'll take it. As Isobel walks in, remarking that it's just one blast from the past after another, she tells Cherie in French to get out. Cherie does as she's told. As Damon puts his shirt on, he tells Isobel it's good to see her, and he was having fun with her naughty little minion. She asks how he found her, and Vamp speeds over to her so that they're very close, and says that he searched all the neighborhood bank-owned foreclosures and found the most expensive one. She says she should have known, since he's the one who taught her that. Isobel then asks what he's really doing there. Damon remarks on how she created quite a stir blowing into town, and adds that he's a little hurt she saw everyone except for the man who made her. She apologizes and goes like she's going to hug him, but instead Vamp Speed grabs him by the hair and yanks his head back, asking if he brought the device. He disengages at Vamp Speed and comments, no. He asked and comments, ow. He asks what she's doing with John Gilbert, and she says they dated a few times when they were young, and he was a little bit in love with her. Damon says he's sure one of the many. Your case. He then asks what she wants with the invention. She says she doesn't want anything with it. She's just doing what she's told. Damon grabs her chin and she tells him they're on the same side. He asks which side that is, and she replies, Catherine's. She takes Damon's face in her hands and adds, she wants John Gilbert to have the device, and I think you know that she's not happy when she doesn't get what she wants. Damon slaps her away and asks why Isobel is doing Catherine's dirty work. Isobel tells him not to kill the messenger, and they both know that you can't control Catherine. She does what she wants. Just thinking, no rules.
No rules.
Damon insists he does too. Isobel mocks him, asking if he really does. She leans in closer to him, and he vamp speed grabs her by the wrist until their lips are inches apart. She breathes heavily and asks what they should do now. They laugh and then start kissing. They vamp move over to the couch, and then Damon vamp moves them to the floor with Isobel underneath him in a chokehold. He tells her, now that I have your attention, listen up. You do not come into my town, threaten the people that I care about, going after Elena. Bad move. You leave her alone, I will rip you to bits because I do believe in killing the messenger. You know why? He leans in close. Because it sends a message. He slams her head against the floor. Isobel groans. Damon continues, Catherine wants something from me. You tell that little bitch to come get it herself. He lets go of Isobel and leaves her on the floor. Okay. So Damon and Isobel definitely have some serious chemistry.
Oh my God. Just... he is down bad for this bloodline.
I know, it's weird.
I really thought they were gonna bang. I really thought, I was like, oh. And then I was like, oh, this is strange. And then
Are you gonna tell Elena that you made out with her mom?
He's gonna I don't know. I can't wait to find out if that ever happens, but probably not. But it's like,
I think she maybe has figured out
probably
that they fucked. I mean, Rick knows that they fucked, but
Rick sure does. Oh my God. How long do we think they were hooking up? Because it seems like they're pretty familiar with each other, especially when she's like blast from the past. So it's like they must have spent some time together.
Well, it's only been 2 years since she disappeared and / was transitioned. So yeah, maybe they were together for a while. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with your note saying it's probably not a one night thing. They do seem very comfortable with each other, right? Also in all caps, Isobel's working for Catherine.
That's a interesting development.
And I know you have a note about that, and then I want to say one other thing I didn't write down.
I actually enjoy Damon saying that Catherine has to come with him. It just has to come to him if she wants something, because you know what? That just he's, for his little arcs that his personal arcs this season that he's been on, being so wanting to get Catherine out of the tomb, or want Catherine to, and just Catherine, very Catherine centric, for him to just find one, be so burned by the reason, by learning of the fact that she's not in the tomb, and then that just coming to terms being yo, fuck her, and just being hey, actually no, I'm not doing this. I think that's good for him. I think it's good for him.
I agree. And then just my last kind of note that I was thinking about per some of our earlier conversation is that I know the focus of this is when he's saying people he cares about, he really means person, which is Elena.
Yeah.
But to go just a couple scenes before where he was you're not okay with just townspeople dying, and then here being coming into my town and threatening people, and you're I don't understand.
It's so waffly.
So
that's why I feel I don't know. It's weird wording for some of this. Okay. Anyway, on to our next scene. Bonnie is the best friend. Gilbert residence. Elena goes down the stairs with her bag, seemingly she's about to go somewhere, when someone knocks at the door. It's Bonnie. She says she couldn't sleep last night and that Elena was obviously upset about something at the grill yesterday, and she just walked away. Bonnie says, that's not me. That can't be us. She then tells Elena that she's her friend and that if she needs her, she'll be there for her. She apologizes that she wasn't able to show that yesterday, and both girls look emotional. Elena tells Bonnie that she met her birth mother, and Bonnie goes to ask how it went, and Elena starts to cry. Bonnie asks if she's okay, and Elena shakes her head no, and Bonnie hugs Elena as she cries. It's making me emotional. I'm oh.
Yeah, Bonnie really is the best friend, and she's so mature, right? She's putting aside her personal feelings and boundaries in this moment to show up for Elena.
Yeah. And like, I've missed her presence in the show. I'm glad we're like working to get her back like
I
into
agree.
the storylines.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next scene. Cause? Cause you're a dick. End of story. We're at the Mystic Falls High parking lot. Matt is working on the history department float, and Tyler walks up to him and tries to connect, asking if everything's okay since his mom left. Matt is upset, and Tyler, upset about Tyler asking about his mom, and makes a snide comment that, about telling his mom to call Tyler when she gets back into town. Tyler insists that's not what he meant to say, and he starts saying, "I'm trying to do," before trailing off and admitting that he doesn't know what to say. Matt tells him not to say anything because you're a dick. End of story. Tyler says he knows, but Matt walks away before he can say anything else.
So y'all know that I love a timeline check.
Course.
So Tyler says that Matt has been on his own for 2 weeks, meaning it's been 2 weeks since the party where he hooked up with Matt's mom and when Stefan was initially dealing with his blood relapse. Also, I'm not really invested in this relationship, but I do feel for Tyler a bit here. He's trying to make amends, but I don't blame Matt for not giving him a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Matt has every right to ice Tyler out until whenever Matt wants to reconcile. It's humbling for Tyler and his macho crap. But I do also, on the other side of it, do feel bad for Tyler and what he has to endure at his like own home. Like, Tyler is definitely like a victim of abuse, and like that doesn't give him the right to hook up with his best friend's mom and then punch his best friend over it. But I think, it's complicated, but at least he's trying to like extend olive branches and repair the damage, which is good.
All right, next scene, Spellbook Secrets. We're at Mystic Falls High in a science classroom. Even though we've never been in science class.
We've never been to science class.
And I guess that's why Bonnie picks this room, because no one comes. There's no science teacher.
Nope.
Bonnie leaves through Emily Bennett's spellbook. Elena comes in and Bonnie thanks her for meeting her, adding that she wanted her to see this. Bonnie shares that she's been going through the spellbook since Graham's died. Bonnie points to a page in the book, and we see writing and drawings. Elena immediately clocks that this page is referencing the vampire compass. Bonnie says, according to Emily, Jonathan Gilbert never actually succeeded in inventing anything. Emily secretly spelled them all with magic. Compass, she then flips to additional pages, rings, and the mystery device you told me about. Elena says that's the device or part of it, adding that Damon only has one piece. Bonnie tells Elena that although Emily pledged her allegiance to Catherine, she couldn't stand by while innocent people got killed. This was the only way she could think of to help, to let Jonathan Gilbert believe that he'd actually invented these devices. Elena asks if the spellbook says what the device does. Bonnie reads the page, then stops to ask Elena if she's sure this is what Isobel wants. Elena says yes. Bonnie tells her that this is a weapon against vampires, and Elena is shocked.
Oh, no.
So I love that Jonathan Gilbert, OG, had such a big ego that he just believed he created all of these things when the reality is a woman of color and a witch did it. Of course, later he had her burned, but I do appreciate the irony here of like he thinks he was this incredible inventor and he never actually successfully invented anything.
No. Fuck
you, Jonathan Gilbert.
Fuck you, Jonathan Gilbert. And you know what? I feel like I've heard the song before. White men endlessly taking credit for other folks' brilliance. Like,
facts.
These are the facts. Where's the lie? Also, something I was thinking about, because when I was doing my last watch, I was like really looking at the pages of the spell book. So, and I think, and I'd have to I was really kind of passively watching it, but do you think, was the ring that Alaric had, was that a part of the rings group, or was it just the daylight rings? Because one of them looked sort of more square, or maybe I was just not catching it fully. But so do we think
in the book it should be the Gilbert ring, so it should be Ric's ring.
Okay, so it is Ric's.
It shouldn't be daylight rings.
Okay, so it is the Gilbert ring. So
yeah.
So that would make sense because it's like a Gilbert. It's all like the Gilbert stuff. So Jonathan Gilbert thought he made it, but so Emily Bennett made that, and
she spelled everything. So he created them, but they didn't work without her.
Yeah, my goodness,
this guy.
All right, lies, truths, and one overbearing mother. Mystic Falls High parking lot is where we're at. Caroline is hanging streamers on the float while other students build and decorate floats. Jeremy sees Elena and calls to her. And then she asks if he's seen Stefan, and he says no. Jeremy then asks if she has a second and tells her that he's left Anna all these messages and she hasn't gotten back to him. Elena's obviously surprised that he's still talking to Anna and voices that she didn't know they were still friends. He tells her that they're more than friends. He adds that something could be seriously wrong if Elena knows anything that she has to tell him. Elena says she hasn't talked to Anna, and Jeremy asks if she's lying to him, and Elena asks why would he say that? And Jeremy says, because that's what you do, Elena. You lie. You lie about everything. I know what Anna is, and I know what you know. So tell me, do you know or do you have any idea where she is? Elena is speechless and says that she doesn't know where Anna is. Jeremy walks away, and Elena calls after him. She turns around and Isobel is there. Elena gasps and asks what she's doing there. Isobel says, I'm your mother, Elena. I want to be more involved in your life. Elena tells Isobel that she doesn't want her in her life, and Isobel says she understands that and knows that Elena has a lot of people that she cares about. She tells her she's been studying, and she points out the witchy best friend. And then Jeremy, who Isobel calls sad little brother. And then next, obnoxious Caroline, who Isobel got all of her information from. And Matt, who Isobel refers to as friend X, Yappy's future ex. So crazy. And not nice to Caroline. Boo. Elena tells her that Matt isn't involved with this, but Isobel corrects her, saying he's involved with Elena. Elena tells Isobel to leave, and Isobel says no. She says that she has friends here too, and she points to a man standing next to Matt by the float. His name is Frank, and according to Isobel, he's very handsome and handy, and notices that the axles are a little rusty, and if he applies a little bit of pressure, and Frank jumps onto the trailer above Matt, trapping him under there and crushing his arm. Elena tries to run over to him, but Isobel holds her arm. Tyler and a few students try to lift it off of Matt, and once Stefan arrives and helps, they're able to. Caroline runs over, and Stefan tells her to call an ambulance. Elena asks Isobel why she's doing this, and Elizabeth tells her she's showing Elena how easy it is to hurt people that she cares about. Elena asks if Isobel is doing all this because of Jonathan Gilbert's invention, and Isobel tells her that if she gives it to her, the fun will stop. Elena insists Damon won't give it to her, and Isobel says Elena underestimates how much Damon cares for her. In the background, we see Shuri approach Jeremy, who is oblivious as he texts. Elena tells Isobel Damon will kill her before he gives it up, and Isobel says, is that before or after I kill your brother Jeremy? Panicked, Elena turns to where Jeremy just was, and he's gone. Stefan overhears this and looks up at Elena and Isobel. Elena calls for Jeremy and looks around. Isobel disappears. After a commercial break, Caroline returns to say the ambulance won't be here for 15 to 20 minutes, and Tyler says he can drive Matt in his car, but Matt insists that Caroline can take him. She tells him she didn't drive, and Matt says he'll wait, but our girl Caroline tells him he needs to see a doctor. Tyler's driving, end of story. Matt begrudgingly agrees. She yells at Tyler to go and he says he'll bring his car around. Caroline comforts Matt.
That was a big scene for you to read.
That was a lot.
Jeremy told Elena that
yes,
he knows.
I totally forgot. I was like, oh right, he like doesn't. That's like before. I think I'm like living in like 3 different timelines right now with our episodes, and I'm like they're bleeding all together. But that's right, he doesn't. This is when he lets her know that he knows. So he's like plays it normal, and then goes, actually, bitch, I fucking know, and I love that for him.
Yeah. So Isobel's not messing around, clearly. I don't know where Stefan was during most of this conversation.
Yeah.
And I also hate that Elena doesn't jump in to be like, don't involve, like, she only, once Matt gets brought up, is like, he's not involved in this. I'm like, what about Caroline? It's not her fault she's friendly. Honestly, I feel like if someone came up to you and me and was asking, because this is small town, right? They tell everyone each other's addresses, right? Like, there's no sense of like,
right? This is a small town. They tell each other people's addresses.
I'm just saying. So then, like, is it really a knock against Caroline to be like, oh, yeah, this is my boyfriend, Matt, and that's my best friend, Elena, and that's my other best friend, Bonnie? Like, I feel like if someone started talking to us, we'd be like, yeah, like, we wouldn't divulge their addresses.
No, that would be the hard line that we would draw.
But we would be like, oh, yeah, over there's my best friend. And like, and so I'm like, it's not her fault. She's friendly.
Yeah. I agree. Like, yeah, I don't understand why, like, Elena, like, she should have just said to stop, right? Like, just, like, stop this nonsense. Or, like, I don't know, find Stefan. Like, signal to Stefan. I don't know. It just feels weird. But I don't understand how, like, Stefan clocks the float, but, like, doesn't hear, like, if he's in earshot of, like, what's going, like,
He's not that far away.
No, like, and when he like, I don't know, because the vampire hearing is selective vampire hearing.
Facts.
Oh, can we also talk about how Isobel has no horse in this race and also sees Matt as a shitty partner for Caroline?
Yep, he's future ex. I will say I'm calling Caroline in a crisis because she is not here for this bullshit.
No, she isn't. I love that she's just like, I just still can't with, like, how people just write this girl off all season, because I'm like, this bitch is on top of her shit. She's like, no bullshit, so clear on everything. I'm like, guys, Caroline's the best.
The best. Clarity queen. All right, next scene. Isobel gets what Isobel wants. We're at Isobel's residence. John enters the house to find Isobel with suitcases. She tells him it won't be long now. He asks if she got the missing piece, and she tells him she didn't get it yet. He asks why she called him then. Isobel turns and walks down a hall. John follows. Isobel tells him she is the next best thing to the missing piece of the device. She leads John into a room where Frank and Cherie are holding Jeremy captive. John asks what the hell she's doing, and Isobel says, getting what I want. John tells her she's going to let Jeremy go right now, to which Isobel says, that gaudy ring on your finger, it comes off. John tries to reason with her, saying he knows her and she can't hurt a kid. Isobel says, I'll kill him to prove you wrong. John asks if she's that far gone, saying he knows she's changed, but the old Isobel is still in there somewhere. He tells her again to let Jeremy go. She says okay, and then speaks in French to Cherie. Cherie picks up a candlestick and whacks Uncle John in the head. Jeremy cries out for his uncle. John falls to the ground, and Frank kicks him in the stomach. Cherie holds him down while Frank beats him. Isobel tells them to stop and takes the ring off John's finger. He lays on the floor coughing and bleeding. She tells him, we'll see how you do without this. She walks out with John's ring in hand. Jeremy stares after her.
Okay, so, like, I have questions about Cherie and Frank and their status of immortality. They're not, like, because in the beginning of this episode, they're definitely compelled to be doing whatever Isobel wants.
They have vampire bites all over them.
And they have vampire bites all over them. But then, like, they seem pretty strong.
Maybe she just picked
strong
people with strong cores.
Yeah, maybe that's...
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But you know what I mean, though? It feels like they feel vampire-coded, even though they're her minions, but, like, kind of like the other guy. Yeah, it's like...
Everyone but Trudy. R.I.P. Trudy. Literally forgot about you.
Until this moment.
All right, next scene. It's not piano lessons, honey.
Actually, that's a great line.
It's a really good Damon line. All right. Location: Mystic Falls High School classroom / Salvatore boarding house. Bonnie asks where the device is. Stefan shares that Damon has it and he's going to be difficult to reason with. Elena paces back and forth and says she'll talk to Damon. Stefan brings up that Damon isn't going to just hand it over, especially if it's harmful to vampires. Elena has an epiphany and asks, what if it's not? We then move to the Salvatore boarding house where Elena, Stefan, and Bonnie try to convince Damon. He says, absolutely not, and Elena tells him to hear her out. Damon says, I'm not going to give the device to Isobel so she can give it to John, who's going to turn it to kill me. I like being a living dead person. I love that line too. Elena argues that it'll be useless because Bonnie can take its power away. Damon says he doesn't trust Bonnie. Bonnie says she can remove the original spell. Elena adds that John and Isobel will never know. Damon says no, that he'll get Jeremy his own way. Stefan asks how he's going to do that, reminding Damon that Isobel is a vampire, and Jeremy can be dead the second Damon walks in the door. Damon turns to Bonnie and asks if she's even up for this. He says, no offense, you're no Emily Bennett. Emily knew what she was doing. Bonnie says she's been practicing. Damon makes the quip, that's the scene title. Bonnie tells Damon to name a book, any book. He chooses Call of the Wild by Jack London. Bonnie turns towards the bookshelves and concentrates. A moment later, a book flies off the shelf and Damon catches it. He confirms it's the correct book and mockingly says, great parlor trick. Elena says they're doing it her way and tells him to give her the device. She tells him that they're wasting time. Damon looks at Bonnie and tells her he doesn't trust her and he tried to kill her. Bonnie tells him he can't trust her. Elena jumps in and says that he can trust her, though. They share a look that Stefan definitely clocks, and then Damon hands the device to Elena. Elena thanks him. So this scene feels to me like one line away from Elena telling Damon they have something, an understanding. These two.
For real, though, like, honestly, he caves so easily with Elena always. Just like, and her thank you too. Like, she's like, thank you. Like, can't believe we had to, like, tussle over this.
I do wish I could pull book recs for customers this way. Bonnie, show me your ways.
Okay, so here, I have, like, this could be, like, bordering on a hot take, but it's fine to just keep it here because it's, like, just really relevant to this scene. One, I would love that for you personally. I would love for you to learn how to do this in your shop. I think that would be very whimsical and magical in a novel idea. However, I think this is the dumbest way for Bonnie to demonstrate upping her game.
These are the facts.
Like, I think it's, like, it just based on even stuff we've already seen Bonnie do, specifically with fire, like, already. Like, this isn't the thing that I'd be like, you know what I can do? I'll pull a book off the shelf. It's like, it's a little corny to me.
I agree. Absolutely.
All right. Anyway, next scene, family history, Isobel's residence. Jeremy brings Uncle John a towel. John pulls himself up into a sitting position. Frank stands in the corner watching them. John thanks Jeremy and passes the towel to the cut on his head. Presses the towel to the cut on his head. Jeremy asks what Isobel is after, and John tells him that his ancestor invented a device that is harmful to vampires and says that he and Isobel have been trying to get it. Jeremy asks why, and John says because there's a group of vampires from a very long time ago that want revenge on the town. Jeremy, ever perceptive, asks why a vampire, Isobel, would want to help kill other vampires. Uncle John says Isobel has her own reasons for wanting them dead, and no one ever thought vampires would return to the town, but they have. And he adds that they have to destroy them. And Jeremy asks, all of them? Obviously thinking about Anna, he argues that there are some good ones out there, and John says there's no such thing, and Jeremy says he doesn't believe that, and Uncle John says, well, your dad did, and as his son, that should mean something to you. Jeremy asks how his father knew about all this, and John responds with a question, who do you think taught me all about the family history? Dun, dun, dun.
So this conversation makes me think of Stefan trying to convince Giuseppe to not judge vampires by what others say about them and that they're not all evil.
Right. No, it totally does. And, like, now that John's pulled Jeremy's dad into things are a little complicated for Jeremy because you can even see Jeremy's, like, kind of face, like, washing over of, like, just calculating all the different feelings that he has because It's like, obviously he really cares about Anna and knows that, like, she's good, but, like, now that he knows his dad is on, like, team no vampire, that's tough.
Right. And even if you're, like, questioning Uncle John's, like, the validity of what he's saying, I mean, Jeremy had the journal, one of the journals, because it was in his dad's stuff, which Uncle John didn't know. He was surprised about that. There's the vampire muzzle in that stuff, right? He had the watch that has the piece for the compass, like all of these things their dad had, and he was the elder brother. So it would make sense that he would teach his little brother about it.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Next scene, spell. We're at the Salvatore boarding house. With Emily's spell book opened, Bonnie removes the piece from the device and begins to chant before starting the spell. Damon, Elena, and Stefan watch. Bonnie raises her hands in the air and the lights go out before coming back on. The candles in front of Bonnie and the fire behind her grow as the piece lifts into the air. It drops into Bonnie's hand and she says the spell is done. She hands it to Elena. Damon asks, now what? And Elena says, we give it to Isobel.
Damon's facial expressions in the scene are, like, really hilarious. Like, do you ever, like, just watch, like, when you're watching episodes, just, like, seeing how, like, their face acting, like, his in particular are just, like, peak, but it's, like, very peak in this particular scene.
Yeah, amazing.
He's just kind of like just doing a lot of face work. I love it.
All right, next scene, exchanges, brotherly bombs, and motherly disappointment. We are at the Mystic Falls Town Square. The bell tolls as Elena meets up with Isobel, who whooshes in behind her. Isobel asks where the device is, and Elena asks where Jeremy is. Isobel tells her this isn't a negotiation. She asks again for the invention. Elena asks again where Jeremy is. It's not funny, but it's just them. They're like ping-ponging back, right? Isobel asks Elena if she really thinks she came alone. Cherie and Frank walk up behind Elena. Elena asks if Isobel really thinks that she came alone. Stefan and Damon walk up behind Isobel. Isobel says, for God's sakes, call home. Elena is confused. Isobel rolls her eyes and tells Elena...
Toot alert. Toot.
Oh my God. She rolls her eyes, toot alert, and tells Elena to call home and asks to speak to Jeremy. Elena takes out her phone and calls Jeremy. He picks up and we see that he's home in the kitchen. Elena asks if he's okay and Jeremy says yes, adding that Uncle John hit his head. We see Jenna cleaning John's wound. Jeremy says it was an accident. Jenna adds, and we're all laughing.
She fucking hates
She
John.
really hates him. Elena says she'll be home soon. They hang up. John and Jeremy exchange a look. Back at the town square, Elena tells Isobel she was never going to hurt Jeremy. Isobel replies, no, I was going to kill him. Don't look for any redeeming qualities in me. I don't have any. Elena brings up that Isobel took a risk with Damon. She asks how Isobel knew he would give it to Elena. Isobel says, because he's in love with you. Elena frowns at this, and Damon looks at Stefan. Stefan looks at the ground, seemingly not surprised. Isobel offers Elena the device, and Elena takes it. She thanks Isobel for being such a monumental disappointment. It keeps the memory of my real mother perfectly intact. Isobel tells her goodbye, adding, as long as you have a salvator on each arm, you're doomed. Catherine was smart. She got out. But we all know you're not Catherine. She gives Elena a judgy stare before walking away. More toot. Her minions follow. Elena watches them go, and Stefan walks over to her. They hug. Elena makes eye contact with Damon before burying her face in Stefan's chest. Stefan looks at Damon, who can't make eye contact with him. All right. So I love how these two women square off and mirror each other. They're both stubborn and full of tude and focused on a specific outcome, and they both brought backup. I feel like the resemblance is really clear here.
It is, and I have absolutely the tudes are strong and stubborn, and the strong and stubborn tudes.
I love it. But it is like weird that she brings like her seemingly human minions like as her backup. Right?
Yeah, like I don't understand it. That's why I'm like, yeah. So, but Isabel's a real shit stir.
Yeah. But I do think she's looking out for Elena in her own way.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, Catherine didn't, like, get out of anywhere. You know what I mean? Like, what do you think about that? Like, that comment? Like, she didn't get out of anywhere. She's just, like, she was, like, toying with the brothers and then decided to.
Well, and then she got vervained and almost ended up in the tomb.
Yeah.
And flirted her way out of it. And then, like, we don't actually know where she's fucked off to.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. So, I literally, some of these notes, sometimes I feel like our minds meld as one, and I can't remember what notes are mine or yours. But is this mine or yours? Is this you or me?
This is you.
Oh, okay. I can't remember sometimes because I'm just like, it could be you, it could be me. Damon's reactive look over to Stefan once Isobel says he's in love with her, in love with Elena, is telling.
That or the fact that he can't make eye contact with his brother at the end. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's like.
It's not subtle.
Not subtle. He's like, oh, shit, I've been found out, even though I've been openly flirting with her this whole time, and she's been flirting back.
But maybe Damon didn't actually realize until this moment that he loved her.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, ooh, oops. Okay, next scene. Diary debacle. Gilbert residence. In his room, Jeremy tries to get a hold of Anna again, and when he hangs up, Elena walks in saying they have to talk about this. He says, no, we really don't, and Elena says he doesn't know what Anna told him, but there are things he needs to know. And he says, yeah, because I'm pretty sure the journal covered it. Elena asks him if he read her journal. Yes.
She's like, you read my journal?
He literally just said it. Jeremy goes on and says, save me the speech about invasion of privacy because I read a section about Damon erasing my memory about what happened to Vicky. Elena tries to explain her reason for having his memory erased and says losing Vicky was like when mom and dad died and she just wanted to take his pain away. She apologizes and Jeremy tells her to get out. She tries to argue with him, but he tells her to get out. Elena walks out, but then tries to say something and Jeremy closes the door in her face. He leans back against the door. Something that I want to bring up, and I don't have a note here, but I want to call it out, and we'll keep calling it out as this like feud with Jeremy and Elena go. And we might, I don't know, I can't remember if you have any notes on this, but when he's talking to Anna during the Miss Mystic pageant, he like seems so fine that the memories were taken away, and now he's like directly at Elena giving a big stink. And I just feel like, again, that feels very weird, because it's like when he was talking to Anna about it, he was like, you know, I kind of am glad I don't remember her that way. And she's like, remember her like what? And he's like a monster.
No, she says like a monster, and he says no, like someone who was going to hurt
Right,
me.
yeah. Sorry, yeah, like that. That's exactly right. And so, but either way, it's like he seemed okay with the memories not being there, and now he's like grudging on Elena.
Right. And like in that, when we talked about that episode, a big thing I kept talking about is like, how is he forgiving Anna, but not even giving his sister an opportunity?
Yeah.
And here he's now told her finally weeks later, you know, I know.
Yeah.
And she's trying to talk to him and he won't let her.
Yeah.
So does Anna get a chance because
you
want to get in her pants or have gotten into her pants?
He wants to, you know.
She was wearing those butterfly earrings, so, you know.
Yeah, she was looking cute. But
she had a good updo, definitely done by Caroline.
1,000%. But like, yeah, I just like don't get that, because it's like, Jeremy, like, I understand why you're upset, and you have every right to be upset. Truly has every right. But it just feels like he's doing the thing where like feels very sibling-esque, where it's like making the problem bigger than it is. Like, even though he like maybe is conflicted about how he actually feels about it, but he's like making it bigger to like make Elena feel bad.
Yeah.
Rude. Okay. Anyway, all right. Next scene. Till death do us part. Mystic Falls hallway. Elena. God, I'm like all over the place. It's Friday. My brain's just all over the place. Okay. Alaric walks out of his classroom and down the hall. He stops and turns around to find Isobel. He asks what she wants, and she smiles and says she gets it, meaning him as a history teacher. He asks what the hell she is doing, and bringing up that she acts like she doesn't care, and yet she's hunting him down. She looks down at the ground and shakes her head before telling him that she's leaving and that she thought she'd say goodbye. Ric tells her, well, you couldn't be bothered the first time, so why now? Isobel says that it's good that he hates her, or that he hates her. Ric asks if that makes it easier for her, and he asks, what's the point of this whole exercise? Isobel asks him, what did you expect? You spent all this time trying to track me down. What did you think you would find? And Ric says, the woman who gave me this, and raises his hand to show the ring. Isobel has tears in her eyes. Ric says that she acts like she doesn't care, but she's cared enough to protect him after she left. Isobel shrugs, saying she was a different person back then, and Ric, getting angry, says, right, and that person is gone. The woman I married, the woman that I loved, she's just gone. He takes the ring off and throws it at her. Isobel catches it, and Ric says, you expect me to believe that? And then he takes the vervain out of his pocket and throws it on the ground.
He's very well prepared.
Ric is honestly the most prepared for vampires, for being around vampires.
I'm calling him in an apocalypse.
Yeah, he's the most prepared. I have thoughts about that in like future stuff. And Isobel asks what Ric's doing, and then Ric tells her, I'm ring free, I'm vervain free, so either kill me or compel me, because I don't believe it, not for a second. Isobel vamp speeds over to him and pushes him against the wall. She tells him, I wanted this, I needed this, and I'm gonna regret it forever. This was my mistake, not yours. She then compels him to forget this conversation and says that she loved him, and when she thinks about what she gave up, it hurts. But now his heart is free of her. She smiles at him and says goodbye. She puts the ring back on his finger. Then she touches his face and leaves. When Ric comes to, he looks around, confused.
Okay, well, first off, vampires always are very touchy of the faces, but it is very like tender and touching in this moment. And it doesn't look like Isobel's turned off her emotions after all. I'm glad we got to see them have this conversation, even though sadly Ric won't get to remember it.
Yeah, I know. I'm bummed that that's how it was, but it's still a good moment. I think it's a good moment for sure.
And it makes me think to my earlier comment about like the Ice Queen, and we can unpack this more later, but like that part of it is just an act.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, next scene. My mother is dead. We're at the Gilbert residence. Jeremy turns off his bedroom light and sees Anna in the shadows. He's excited that she's there and steps closer, but then realizes she's crying. Anna tells him her mother is dead, that she was killed. Jeremy's shocked by this and says he's so sorry. Anna tells him she knows she's not supposed to be here, but she doesn't have anywhere else to go. He holds her and tells her it's okay. So my real kind of question for this scene is that I don't understand why Anna says she's not supposed to be there. Jeremy has been calling her nonstop.
Like, what? Yeah, I don't know. Is it because that like Pearl got killed and Harper got killed, and so
because
she's
his
like
uncle's in the house
yeah,
somewhere?
and like so she's not supposed to be there because like it's like a risk to her personal safety, maybe? I don't know. But why don't you maybe call Jeremy back and see if he can help you, because that might be helpful.
Right, he's just leaving his window open for you, girl.
Yeah, like he could help. Oh my God.
All right, next scene. History will not be repeating itself. We're at the Salvatore boarding house. Damon pours himself a glass of scotch. And I put scotch here because that's what the transcript said. But normally I would say bourbon. But I think they drank both.
I think they drink both.
Stefan enters the room. Damon asks Stefan if he'd like a drink. Stefan lingers in the background, so Damon tells him to say it, whatever it is. Stefan says it's about what Isobel said. Damon says, what about it? And turns to face his brother. Stefan says he knows Damon and Elena have bonded and that they care about each other, but he's concerned about Elena getting hurt. Stefan adds that Elena considers him a friend. Damon says she's a very good friend, adding that she might qualify as his only friend. He asks Stefan if that's a problem. Stefan says, at the risk of sounding like a jealous boyfriend, and Damon cuts him off saying, there's no risk, you do.
Oh my God.
Stefan continues, history will not be repeating itself where Elena is concerned. Do you understand that? Or do you understand what I'm saying? Damon says, sure, but turns away. Stefan vamp speeds over to him and asks, do you understand? Damon offers a sarcastic response and says they're just friends. He then drops a bomb and says, as a friend, I wasn't looking forward to telling her the truth anyway, so I'll let you do it. Stefan asks, what truth? Damon says, about John. Am I the only one around here who has the ability to put two and two together? Isobel, hello. She dated John when she was 15. She gets pregnant and ends up at the doctor's office of John's brother. Now, what do you think John's role is in all of this? I mean, go ahead and think about it. I'll wait. Did you get it? You there yet? Mm-hmm. Stefan realizes what Damon is saying, that Uncle John is Elena's birth father. He asks what proof Damon has, but Damon makes a joke about the paternity test on Maury Povich. Oh my God, classic.
What
Maury.
a TBT.
Right? He tells Stefan he knows how well he deals with these bombshells and tells him to sleep tight. As he's leaving the room, he turns back and says, oh, and when you do tell Elena and she needs a friend to talk to about anything, I'm here for her. Stefan stares after him. Okay. Thank you, Stefan, for finally saying something to your brother about Elena.
I'm so glad. I'm so happy.
I actually don't think he sounds jealous. I think he just sounds concerned.
He does sound concerned. And you know what? If he was just going to let that go all the time, that would have been so crazy. They are literally flirting in front of his face sometimes. It's so wild. It's so wild. It's like, it's Catherine Light, if you will.
Mm-hmm. I do have a little note of gratitude for Damon for actually putting together what I think is super obvious. It's a super obvious reveal.
It feels really obvious.
But we'll talk about it more in our hot takes. I do hate his entire reaction to this conversation with Stefan, though. And historically, he has not been a good friend to Elena. How about when she tried to tell him about her birth mother and he blew her off and then humiliated Rick in public and admitted to killing her mom? That was not that long ago.
It wasn't. And you know what? I will take that argument to heart because I think that they've got a good argument there. But I will still give snaps to Damon for finally saying what we've all been thinking, and his perception continues to slay. He hasn't been the best friend to Elena, and like he's also been a fucking terrible brother to Stefan, like encouraging Stefan's consumption of human blood that like affected everybody, including Damon. An idiot. But Damon's also definitely deflecting by the end because he definitely caught a feeling for Elena.
I was just thinking about this with this scene of like, so Isobel was 15. Well, she was 16 when she gave birth to Elena. And John's the father. And Dr. Gilbert already had a doctor's office practice. So he had to be in his mid-20s. How old was John? Like, I continue to be confused about the age
Are
gaps.
they younger?
John's younger
He's
than
younger, okay.
Grayson. But, like...
He's older than Isobel, though, for sure.
Yeah, but I feel like only by a couple years.
Probably not
So,
by
like,
much,
maybe
yeah.
he was, like, 17. Like, if she was 15, maybe he was, like, 17 or 18.
Potentially, yeah.
Which would mean his brother's, like, 7 years older than him, which, like, okay. But, like, we also have a big age gap between Jenna and Miranda. And I'm just, like, it gets really loosey-goosey, timey-wimey.
Sure, I agree.
I also was seeing that, I don't know where I found this. It was in my head today that there are conflicting dates about actually how old Isobel is, because like one thing we see, it's maybe on like her yearbook photo or something, says she's born in 1978, but that wouldn't make sense because that would mean Elena was born in 1994, which would make her 15 at this time.
Yeah.
So like Isobel would have had to have been born in 1976.
Mm-hmm.
So there's like even some inconsistencies with what we get shown. And I just continue to be confused because, you know, I really like a timeline.
I know you love a timeline. How old? Like, what year is Elena born in again?
She would have been born in 1992 if she's 17, right? It's 2010. So 10. Yeah, 92.
So she's the same.
Well, as you. I'm a year older than you are.
Yeah, like she's so...
Yeah, which makes sense because you were in high school, you were that age, and I was starting college.
I was literally that age. Yes, these are the facts. These are the facts. Okay. Parental scheming. We are in the Gilbert residence and a car. Uncle Daddy John. Hello, Uncle Daddy John. Sits on the couch and is still obviously in pain. His phone rings and it's Isobel. She's in the back of a car. She tells him on his doorstep he'll find what she's looking for, or he'll find what he's looking for. He'll find what he's looking for. Oh my God, I don't know why I cannot read today, you guys. I'm sorry. John asks about his ring. Isobel tells him, "Don't screw this up. You know what you have to do, John." And he goes to the door and picks up the envelope. He tells her he won't fail, and Isobel says, "You better not." And John empties the envelope, revealing his ring and the Jonathan Gilbert device. And Isobel continues, says, "Catherine wants all those tomb vampires dead, and I want to add 2 more to that list." John puts his ring back on and picks up the device. He knows where she's going with this, but Isobel confirms Stefan and Damon. She tells him that she doesn't want this life for her. John replies that killing the Salvatore brothers was always a part of the plan and to consider them gone. Isobel says, "She's our daughter, John. We owe that to her." John says he knows, and they hang up.
We'll talk more about this later.
We'll talk more about it later. What a reveal. But was it? I don't know.
And also, for those who've been listening to our spoiler sods, you know that we've been literally chomping at the bit to say Uncle Daddy John in the main podcast. And we've been this close to accidentally saying it.
Too many times, actually.
Too many times.
Since he's been here. Really.
Since he's been here.
Uncle Daddy John. So you heard it here. Uncle Daddy John. And now we can openly say it.
And we're never going to stop. You're welcome.
Uncle Daddy John. That's going on the No Context this week. I'll tell you what. We will be having a little flyer for Uncle Daddy John.
We got to do his baddie fit because he looks
yes, we need to find him in the baddie fit and then specifically with the sunglasses on.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So glad we're on the same page. All right. Just a call out. We do No Context every week for our episodes. So if you don't follow us on Instagram, what are you doing? Go to Hello Sister Podcast on Instagram or Threads and follow us because we do some fun shit over there. Thanks. All right. Back to the main programming. Bestie Betrayal.
Final scene.
Oops. We were really just rolling along here until now, and now we're at the end. Okay. Mystic Grill. Where else would we be? Carol, where else? I'm still fried at the fact that like when Isobel's just trying to meet with Elena, and it's like, where are we gonna meet? At the one place that everyone goes. Okay. Caroline and Bonnie sit at a table. Caroline says to Bonnie, "You're not gonna tell me what happened." And like just very concerned, and Bonnie shakes her head and Caroline gives her a look like, seriously? And Bonnie says, I did something bad, Caroline, and I lied about it. Confused, Caroline asks to who? And Bonnie says, to Elena. I pretended to do something that I didn't really do. And Caroline asks what she's talking about, and Bonnie says, I couldn't do what she wanted me to do. It wasn't right. Grams would have never done it, so I couldn't either. But when Elena finds out, she's never going to forgive me. Cue credits. Oh my God.
Damn, Bonnie. But like, I also get it. And in all fairness, she never told Damon and Stelena. Yep, Damon and Stelena that they could trust her, right? Like, she specifically says to Damon, you can't trust me.
She really did.
So I'm just saying, like, yes, she offered to do it. Obviously, she's lying. But in that moment, she didn't say, you can trust me.
No, she sure didn't. And you know what? Fair for Bonnie. And you know what? I mean, it's tough. It's a tough thing that she did because she is betraying her best friend. But she's also got her stuff. Like, just like Emily, she's got her own agenda.
Yes.
And I love that for her.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
All right. Well, now we will move along to some folklore and continue chatting about all this fun stuff. I don't know why I keep vamping. I don't know. Whatever. Vamping on vamps. I don't know. Bye. We'll go to folklore now.
All right, let's dive into some folklore. For this week's episode, we are looking at humanity switches.
All right, I'm going to take it away. So in this episode, we learn a little bit about vampire humanity and how it functions in the TVD universe. When Damon and Ric are outside of the Mystic Grill during Elena's meeting with Isobel, Ric notes how Isobel as a vampire is now cold and detached, and she barely resembles the person he once knew. Damon tells Ric that she's given up her humanity. In exchange, Ric goes on to remark how Stefan still has her humanity and that even Damon has some redeeming qualities that signals he has some humanity too. So why doesn't Isobel?
Damon informs Ric that a vampire's humanity is something that can be turned on or off, as if there were a button that can be pressed. According to Damon, a vampire's inclination is to not feel anything, so they will default to turning their humanity off so they don't have to feel any of the big feelings they once had in their human lives or make it easier to kill without guilt.
So for this week, we thought it would be fun to explore what exactly that might mean in the TVD universe, whose humanity might be on or off, and if we've seen any other examples in folklore, literature, or media. So we're going to start a little bit with just our contemporary and literary examples, and then we'll go into our TVD characters proper to just like decide rapid fire where we think our characters are on the humanity on or off scale, so to speak. So do you want me? Do you want me
You'll
to start
so that we're more closely aligned with the shows we
Sounds
feel
great. Love that.
close to.
All right. So first up, Dracula and Nosferatu, who are basically the same person if we really are getting pedantic about it. Their humanity is not present and nefarious by nature. Stoker focused on the monstrosity and the hunter-like qualities of vampire folklore instead of humanizing them, despite Dracula and even to an extent Nosferatu, especially if you've seen the most like recent film that was it Robert Eggers did for Nosferatu, like keeping up human pretenses. But it's important to note that Nosferatu, for those who may not know, like is inspired by Dracula, literally like just was adapted into film based on Dracula. So they are kind of one and the same, despite being different characters. But either way, they both have the depiction of like definitely what I would call and what I think we would both agree on is humanity off, more hunter, animalistic, predatory creature.
Yeah, definitely. So next is in Interview with the Vampire. Louis and Lestat show a gradient of humanity, where Louis is more caring while Lestat is more ruthless, but still loves. And the I think is Brenna. Brenna thinks, but we think that we could say that their humanity is there, but morality is ultra gray. There doesn't seem to be an outright answer on where they lie, other than vampires in this universe do adhere to certain rules to keep themselves and other vampires safe from human scrutiny.
Which is, we definitely in a previous episode Can't recall now what exactly that episode was, but that episode we do go into like just how vampires, like vampire families or like how they function as groups.
Yeah, and I think
Vampire nests.
Well, we were talking about vampire nests, but then we also had an episode where we were talking about like why vampires like might try to stay under the radar, and I feel like that was the conversation.
Absolutely. We have a lot of good folklore sections, you guys. You should go back and review them. Just saying.
Absolutely.
Okay, so in our next example, we have, of course, unsurprising, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She's here again. So in the Buffy universe, or the Buffyverse, if you will, vampires are considered to be demons that take up residence in a human's body, meaning they aren't really the person they once were. However, the demons do cling on to aspects of the vampire's human life, and we see this most notably through the character of Spike. However, in order for a vampire to be good, they must be ensouled, which is done through magical means to give the demon inside, who is like the demon vampire inside the human, a soul. So the soul operates as their humanity, but unlike TVD, it's not something that can be switched on or off. Being ensouled is a permanent state, typically used as a punishment or a curse. And an example of this would be the character of Angel. He possesses a soul, like he's a vampire, he possesses a soul, but it's from a curse that is meant to torment and remind him of all the horrible things he's done. So similarly, like in some of the things that Damon's explaining about how vampires don't want to feel all those like horrible things that they've done, this is like forcing that demon vampire to like face that. And but on the other side of it, if Angel experiences a moment of true happiness, the soul is then lost and the demon runs free and soulless, which turns Angel back into his vampire ego, Angelus. Crazy stuff.
Feels
a little backwards to me personally, but you know.
Yeah, right.
The like true happiness thing is like a little backwards.
Yeah, they just like their vampires broody.
Yeah.
Like Stefan.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, so next is True Blood, or the Sookie Stackhouse series. So in this universe, vampires were originally humans. They are quote-unquote sentient, reanimated corpses who were once alive, then transformed by a maker into vampires. Many vampires in this universe still identify as human in spirit, culture, and relationships. They keep human-like emotions, moral choices, and social roles, and they often strive to integrate into human society, right? Like we've talked about in the past that in True Blood, they came out of the blood closet. I'm going to call it the blood closet.
The coffin?
They came out of the coffin. I like blood closet.
I like the imagery of a blood closet is harrowing and also appropriate.
I'm just thinking of in The Shining when the elevator doors open.
That's the blood closet. That's the blood closet. That's the blood closet.
Done. You've heard it here first. But yes, they've come out of the coffin / blood closet.
Wait, this is something we could use for social media.
We should do it. Yes, definitely use it for social media. Oh my gosh. But anyway, the point I'm trying to get is that the vampires in True Blood, not all of them, but enough of them are interested in becoming a part of society, and is why they come out and admit that vampires exist, because they want to gain legality, they want rights, they want to have a life. Okay. So Bill Compton, Bill Compton is an example of a vampire who, for the most part, lives by human morality and has high regard for human life. Eric Northman and Pam Swinford de Beaufort come across as colder with less regard for human life. However, both Bill and Eric fall in love with a human, Sookie Stackhouse, which shifts things. And as the book/series go on, all of the vampire protagonists hold onto their humanity in different ways.
I would also argue that Pam has some humanity in her too, especially
absolutely
when it comes to Tara.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, a queer relationship where you're talking about how vampires tend to be queer. But also what's really interesting is she's as snarky in the books, but she's different. She and Sookie are actually like kind of friends.
Oh, I have to read
She
these
also
books.
Dresses like a housewife.
Wait, what?
Yeah. So
I like BDSM
I love
better.
Like she only dresses up like that at Fantasia. She's like very like Barbie doll kind of, and it's actually really funny with her whole like vibe. But yeah, like Sookie and she are like have a deep respect for each other and are like kind of friends.
Also, I have a question, and do we need to have a Fantasia party? And is that maybe a future either A, birthday theme, or B, just party that we throw at some point?
Yes. Who are we putting in a long blonde wig to sit shirtless and just be Eric Northman?
Jury's out. We'll have to figure it out. Okay.
But yes, absolutely.
All right. Shall I
think you can
take a bite into this.
Take a bite.
Take a bite into this Twilight comp. Okay, so in Twilight, the Cullens, which we have also talked about when we talk about vampire nests and families and hiding from humans, the Cullens operate as a family or a coven. They choose to be vegetarian, meaning they do not consume human blood. They have a high regard for human life and try to lead as close to regular human lives as possible. So we would say them on the humanity scale, definitely closer with humanity.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So what we do in the shadows. So for this, I specifically focused on the TV show because I haven't seen the movie.
We need to get you to watch this movie.
Feel free to jump in with thoughts from the movie if it's relevant to the discussion.
Feels so they're so spiritually similar.
Okay. So in the TV show, it follows 3 blood-sucking vampires, 1 energy vampire, and their human familiar as they build a life in Staten Island, New York. I lived in Staten Island, New York for 4 years. I don't know if we ever talked about it, but I went to college in Staten Island. So it's like,
I love that.
I just love that about the show.
I've never been to Staten Island.
I mean, the food's really good. I'd have to look in to see where you could eat since you can't have gluten. But you know what? Megan survived when she was in college there. That's like when all of her, which is my best friend, like all of like her gluten stuff was happening. So we can figure it out. But the food is excellent.
And is it
like
really
across
that
the board
vibe, like the Staten Island? I don't know. That's not Staten Island.
So Staten Island is very like South Philly vibes. Like they're like
the
culturally the same. Like people sit on their stoops and they say things like galamad and mozzarella.
It's like Italian.
It's Italian. Where they have gravy. And they've never been to Italy. And they do not speak Italian.
They speak Italian.
Yes, culturally it's very different. But no, I mean, I have a real soft spot for Staten Island because I lived there for 4 years. So
you also found your bookstore is in the Philadelphia equivalent.
I know. When I started dating Alex and he lived in that neighborhood, I was like, oh, I understand this.
Yeah, because South Philly, for folks that are not from or familiar with the general area, South Philly is very much an Italian, predominantly like American Italian or mostly American Italian like families. So
absolutely. So I will take you to Staten Island. I don't know if it still exists, but Beso was this Spanish restaurant right by the ferry, and
Beso like Kiss.
Yeah, the food incredible. The pictures of cocktails of sangria. Incredible. I went there on dates. I went there with friends. I went there when parents came to visit. I don't know if it still exists, but if it does, we're going.
Well, we love sangria because you know what? It's like blood and vampires and sanguine.
Maybe we go stay with your sister and then we take the ferry over and have a Staten Island day and then we could like get drunk, which would make Staten Island much better. And then like just take the ferry back to your sister in New York.
That sounds great because my sister who does listen to this podcast, shout out Charlie. We love you so much. She did just her and her partner, Frank, who we also love. Frank, we love you.
Hi, Frank.
They did just move a short, brisk walk from Penn Station, which is exciting.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We'll be there.
I'm in. All right. So back to what we do in the shadows. And these 4 vampires and their human familiar are trying to build a life in Staten Island, New York. The vampires are lazy, hilarious, and have little regard for human life. Like, they are very violent. But Nandor, one of the vampires, he has a familiar, Guillermo, I love Guillermo, and he truly is the heart of the show. He straddles the human and supernatural world, and even though he really, really wants to be turned into a vampire, only to learn he descends from Van Helsing, what a plot twist, he doesn't lose his humanity or his respect for human life. The show is about friendship and found family, and there's a lot of heart to all of the lewd humor and ridiculous storylines.
Yeah, and I really love these examples. And I know we like really pull on the threads of a lot of these vampire properties, but it's just like fun to see just comparing and contrasting like how the different like shows or books or films or whatever, like how they handle these things. And it does seem like, like our show and like we're going to see in TVD now and into the future, there is a gradient of like humanity, despite the fact that Damon says that there's a humanity switch on or off. So,
yeah.
Without further ado, we're going to do as rapid fire as we can because we got a lot of hot takes we got to pop off on. We're going to do a little roll call on who has their humanity on or off. Actually, you know what? I think what would be fun is I'm going to roll call and I'm going to let you knee-jerk answer. And then we can like discuss if we need to finesse. Does that sound fun to you? I just made this up on the spot. I hope that works.
I love it.
All right, Stefan.
Absolutely, yes.
Humanity on. Okay. Vicky.
Yes.
Yes. Humanity. Well, okay. One little in between. I feel like, yeah, you're right. She's
feeling everything.
She is feeling.
I think that's actually like her whole thing about life is she tries to dull the feelings that she has, but she's feeling everything.
I will accept this, and I agree.
I also think she might be should maybe be diagnosed with ADHD.
She probably should. As a person with ADHD, I concur. Thank you so much, Vicky. We love you, even though you've been gone for a while. All right, Logan Scumfell.
On. Because he wants to, like...
bite her and kiss her.
He wants to bite Jenna and kiss her and stuff.
Okay, on. On for Logan Scumfell. Lexi.
On.
All the way. She's up there with Stefan with like just unequivocally on. Okay, Lee.
On.
On. He loves Lexi.
He's getting revenge because he loves Lexi so much.
So true. All right, Anna.
On.
On. Do we think it was on prior to all the Jeremy?
No.
Okay, so it was off and then on.
I feel like she had to turn it off to survive all of that time without her mom and without her double bonnets.
That's fair. I will accept this answer. What about Ben?
I don't know.
We don't even like him.
I'm gonna say off.
Off. Sure.
But I genuinely don't care. Like he seems like kind of hurt that she doesn't care, but like he also doesn't. So
yeah, I feel like
he's mean to Bonnie.
He is mean to Bonnie, and for that he's off.
Off.
Pearl.
On.
You think she? Yeah.
On, but I feel like she's kind of in general like a very like calculating kind of like colder person.
Yeah.
But I do think that if her humanity was off, she wouldn't have given chances to assholes like Frederick.
That's so true. That's so true. Which leads us to our next one, Frederick.
Off.
All the way off. Fuck him. Beth Ann?
Off.
Off. No. All right, Catherine.
We don't know enough yet. So I'm just going to go based off of what we've been told, not thinking about what I know moving forward. I'm going to say off currently.
I'm going to say off as well. I would agree. Isobel.
On.
She's on. All right, let's talk about it real quick.
She plays act very well. And we'll talk about this more when we get to hot takes because I think I have a note specifically about it. But I actually think she is trying to convince herself more than anyone else that she doesn't care. That
tracks and I agree with you. So yeah.
But that conversation with Rick in the hallway, on all the way.
On, for sure. Damon.
On currently.
On currently. Definitely was off when we first met him. And at what point do we think it switched on?
Well, see, this was so interesting. If he didn't have this conversation with Rick, I genuinely would have thought his humanity was on this whole time and that he was just a dick. I think kind of sharing some things with Vicky of like, I do actually think they're very similar kind of people and how they approach things and the impulsivity and things like that. And like trying to dull feelings like pain, things like that. But I feel like he wouldn't make all the choices he makes and he wouldn't be this committed to trying to make his brother's life miserable if his humanity was off all of the time.
That's so true because you have to care.
Right. If you don't care, you're just going to fuck off and leave Stefan alone.
Well, and I think even earlier in the season, I think Stefan notes that to Damon that like he wouldn't be doing any of this stuff if he didn't care, if he didn't feel.
So I feel like in that way now, because of this conversation, I mean, and when he it just seems like, okay, he has had his humanity off and now he's turned it back on. And so we can assume that it was earlier in the season, but if I was just going off of my own observations, I think it's been on this whole time, but he's just starting to actually allow himself to feel to let it come through.
Yeah. And that's where, like, I think that this is, and it's interesting. And you know what? This won't be the last time we talk about this.
Yeah.
Certainly will not, knowing what's coming. But I think, thank you, one, for just riding through that with me on this. And we'll definitely go through, we'll revisit it again with where people are at. But I think there is a gray area. Like, even when, I mean, in the other examples that we had earlier, I think even when, like, someone's a de facto bad guy, like, they still somehow have, like, these emotions that still tie them
Except for Frederick.
somewhat to, except for Frederick, fuck him.
And
like,
Ben.
tie them to, like, humanity.
Yeah.
Whether that's, like, our TVD characters or any of the ones from,
Right.
like, pop culture. I mean, other than, I would say, like, the Dracula and Nosferatu example that we brought up earlier. But yeah, it's just interesting. And I'm glad we got to take a walk to explore humanity. So now let's move on to what we've really been waiting to get into, our hot takes and final thoughts.
All right, hot takes, final thoughts for episode 21.
Big stuff, big stuff.
All right, should we start with the Uncle Daddy John of it all?
Oh, please.
Okay. So I'm so glad, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, but I'm so glad we can finally talk about the fact that Uncle John, a.k.a. Uncle Daddy John, is Elena's birth father. To me, it was incredibly obvious.
Very obvious.
And not just because I've watched the show before. It's positioned as this big reveal, but my hot take is that it's not.
I think that's an apt hot take. I think that they are laying it on pretty thick for us as the audience to figure it out.
They knew each other as teenagers. She spent a lot of time in Mystic Falls. He had a crush on her. They dated once or twice.
They're in cahoots in this episode.
They have a common whatever.
They have a common purpose or mission or whatever the fuck they say. But it's like definitely, it's like, okay, obviously, well, which is what I love about
the connection to Elena's father.
Yeah. Literally.
The esteemed Dr. Grayson Gilbert.
Do you think that Dr. Grayson Gilbert was like a real baddie? Or do you think
I feel like he was
just
perfectly average. I truly feel like he was perfectly average because this small ass town thinks that freaking Richard Lockwood should be mayor.
Well, like, what about Miranda?
I feel like she was probably like an excellent PTO mom.
But I feel like if she's kicking it with Kelly, she's got to have a little fun side.
She's got to
her.
have a trashy side.
Do you think she like trashes out like with like when she's like with Kelly, like they do their like they're like
she puts on her low rise jeans.
Yeah,
and like borrows a sweater from Elena.
Oh yeah, but then it's like Elena's fucking crew neck shirts or whatever.
She's like still wearing like pearls or something.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Give us the Miranda cut. All right. What's next?
Do you have more to talk about with Uncle Daddy John?
Oh, I said Uncle Daddy John. It definitely has felt so obvious, even if you haven't watched the show before. But pretty much basically what you've already said, and like I had called out earlier in the episode today, like we will need to be making a big announcement on No Context this week.
Great. So then should we talk about Elena's other parent?
I think so.
Okay. So Isobel is such a complex and interesting character, and I actually really like her, ! Like,
Okay.
I like her.
Yeah.
I like watching her.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like in previous watches, I haven't actually liked this character at all, which I think is really interesting. Mia Kirshner does such a fantastic job of being cold, calculating, and also super sexy. But we get to see softer sides of her here with Rick. And then when talking to John about Elena, right? When she's like, you know, she's our daughter, John. Like, we owe her this. Like, I don't want this life for her, you know. When she's talking to Rick and she's in tears and you're like, and says like, it's like she needed it, but it's something she'll always regret.
Yeah.
That I feel like and I was getting to this earlier, like, I think she's trying to convince everyone connected to her that the old Isobel is gone, but her actions are showing that she actually really does care. Mm-hmm. And I also find a person who is fascinated with folklore.
Yeah.
Obviously, we are fascinated with folklore, who decides to step into the myth herself.
Yeah.
Even
step
knowing,
into the myth. I love it.
right? And like, but she knows, she willingly does it knowing what she's giving up. And I think that just like, I mean, yes, it's like shitty what happens, like how that shakes out for Ric, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that it's like there is something really admirable about her being someone who A, made a career out of something that is hard to make a career out of, and B, that she was so passionate about something that like no one was going to tell her no, and that she owns it. Unlike some of the shit I point towards Damon, who only sometimes takes responsibility. Like she genuinely is like, no, this is like this is something I needed. It is not on you.
Yeah.
I will carry the guilt that I feel for it. I will carry the remorse.
Yeah.
I don't want you to feel this anymore, but I needed to do this for me. And I really respect that.
And like, it seems that I was getting the impression that she definitely maybe, she says she regrets her decision and that she has to live with the choice that she made to do it. And I like that she, one, all the things that you said, very determined on pursuing all of the things that she had done in her field. Not only that, but also just like in pursuit of becoming a vampire. But then maybe when she became a vampire, realized it wasn't all that it was cracked up to be, and has the emotional intelligence to know that that was her choice that she made. She's not blaming a brother for just gently leaving.
We don't even know if she has a brother, but
but Uncle Daddy John just sent her Damon's way. We know that. And like she, you know what I mean? And but I think that is admirable in her in an otherwise like could be unlikable character. So I agree. I like this like new view on Isobel. And not new view, but I mean I guess like new, just the way that we're thinking about her. To keep on the Isobel train. Isobel and Damon's almost sexy scene was probably the hottest in the show for me so far personally.
It's hot.
I was like, the first time I watched it after obviously not watching it for years, I was like, are they gonna fuck right now? Like
I'd watch it.
I was literally like, I'm like, can I
take your top off, Isobel?
I'm like, hello. And then it just like, and then it ends abruptly because like Damon's not actually having it and he was just trying to like lure Isobel in. But like, damn, it was working for me personally. Also, this is just like so minor. We already talked about it, but I'll just briefly mention it. Like, they're just like the confusion I still hold around Cherie and Frank being vampire minions, but not vampires. And like, even in the showdown with like Elena giving Isobel the device, like Damon and Stefan could like wipe the actual floor with those two if they're not actually vampires, and also still probably would just because of the vampire seniority rule. So I'm just confused.
Yeah, I'm confused too.
Yeah, I don't know if we're not getting answers out of it, but it just was important. It was important for me to say.
You have another Isobel.
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, Isobel, in a lot of ways, I would say, even though we just kind of like unpacked how she maybe not is like this, but I do still think that there are selfish qualities in her that are very closely resemble Catherine. But she does clearly care. And that's, I think, the determination to say that her humanity is still on is still, very, I think that's accurate to say. And just, yeah, the regret that she lives with is perhaps what drives her softness, I think, towards Ric, towards Elena. And even it's like, she could have literally done whatever she wanted to do to Ric in that moment. Ric literally gives her like free reign to truly, like, she could have killed him. She could have compelled him like a bunch of weird different ways. She could have compelled him to turn into a vampire. She could have just turned him into a vampire. Like, she could have done anything. And she just basically apologizes and then re-protects him again with the ring that she originally leaves him with. And for Elena, she's like not having it with these vampire men that her daughter's flouncing around with.
Which is actually a very
Which is
maternal
actually
thing.
a very yeah, exactly. It's like a very motherly thing. And she's like, don't expect much from me. And it's like,
also, she's already fucked one of them. So, like,
Yeah.
stay away from my daughter, slime
Yeah.
ball.
yeah. So anyway, that's like her closest way of feeling
yeah.
human.
I think so. All right. I want to talk about. Let's talk about Catherine, since you were talking about some comparison between
Yeah.
Catherine and Isobel. And I think our notes actually pretty similar on this from what I remember. All right. So Catherine wants the device, the Gilbert device, so that all the tomb vampires can be killed. But aren't most of them dead or gone at this point?
Yes, this is possibly the thing I have the most questions about of the whole entire series so
I don't
far.
understand. So Pearl, Harper, Frederick, and all of those goons are dead. Henry, dead. And according to Pearl, most of the remaining tomb vampires had left town. Henry said in a previous episode that they wanted revenge, and John tells Jeremy the same, but we, as the viewers, haven't actually seen any evidence to show that there are still remaining tomb vampires in Mystic Falls and that they're looking for revenge. So I'm not sure why this is necessary. Enough with the tomb vamps, I say.
I
couldn't
agree more. And yeah, I mean, to piggyback off of that, I genuinely am confused why Catherine wants this device to wipe out the two vampires because they basically don't exist. So, like, I agree with your talking point that there has been no evidence that this is like something like that. There has been, and this is going to be so important. This is going to be so important, but I don't want to say anymore. But this will be important in the future. And by future, I mean next episode. But like, there's no evidence that this is something that they really want to do other than when like Pearl's original vengeance plan, right? Like that's like the only time we really hear about this. Excuse me. But like once the vamp den is gone, like so too are the vampires. And so like why like my hot take is that like, and not hot take, I think this is a very very plausible take. The tomb vampire storyline continues to be one of the weaker parts of this like season. And if they wanted the tomb vampires to feel more threatening, they needed to be like a consistent existing threat and not just like talked about and like their whereabouts even off, like most of their dealings being like off screen through dialogue.
Yeah.
And that will be something we can like unpack and talk about more in like the last episode when we kind of like go through the season at large. But like, I'm just pain point for me, tomb vamps.
I agree.
And for both of us.
Yeah. So next, why don't we talk about the Damon and Elena of it all, because that's my last vampire that I have any notes about for this episode.
Sounds good.
All right. So just like I don't think it's a very big reveal that Uncle Daddy John is Elena's birth father, it's not really a big reveal that Damon is in love with Elena. Sure, Elena seems surprised by it, but we know she's not very perceptive.
I mean,
all right, I wrote this part in all caps. Though I think she knows it and is just avoiding it / is cashing in on it when it benefits her.
How Catherine of her.
It is so Catherine of her. Also, the show is literally advertised as a love triangle, so it's not also really a surprise that there will be a will they, won't they between Elena and Damon.
They literally, like, also, you just had to be there if you weren't there when it was on live. Like, the way that they are smizing and, like, posing in the little, like, scenes of, like, them tussled around, like, the three of them. It's like, yeah, like, this show
I mean, literally from, is it the pilot episode where, no, I guess it's the second episode where, because the only thing Damon says in the pilot episode is hello, brother. So in the second episode, he's literally like, she's a dead ringer for Catherine. I'm like, you want to get in her pants? Like, I'm like,
yeah, immediately.
Even if it's just to fuck with your brother, you want to. Like, it's just, and I know you have a note about those two.
Those two. That's what they're going to be called. Those two from here on out. Damon's feelings, like his feelings reveal is pretty anticlimactic. Like, we also know she likes him too. Like, I mean, even if she doesn't want to admit it, I'm sorry. She likes Stefan more. it's very Catherine of her, but she's definitely like has like an admiration towards Damon. I would say like because she wouldn't do the shit that she's done with him, like having like the weird intimacy that she does have with Damon if she wasn't a little bit into him. You know what I mean? Whether that's subconscious. Well, we know she subconsciously flirts with everyone because she flirts with Matt too. So maybe she doesn't actually fully know, but she knows.
She's just that girl.
She's that girl. She is that girl. All right. But I will give the writers credit that like Damon falling in love with Elena did start out slowly, but it became increasingly more obvious as the season went on. Like I do really feel like in the beginning half of the season, before their little road trip, he is truly antagonistic and like not interested in her at all. Like he's just trying to get Catherine, and he's kind of not really, even though he like knows they look the same, he's not.
Like he tries to compel her to kiss him in Friday Night Bites, but I think it's purely just to mess with Stefan.
I agree. I don't think it's out of his like, I mean, other than she's wearing the same face as his lover that he wants to get out of the tomb, but
it's so weird.
It's really weird. And he also has fucked her mom. So like that's also weird. And then has fucked her ancestor, which is also Damon,
and probably other tuneful brunettes
I'm so
that are
sure.
somehow connected to the
Petrova bloodline.
Pierce,
Oh, well, we haven't gotten there yet. Oops, but we'll get there eventually.
Petrova, Pierce, Gilbert.
Petrova, Pierce, Gilbert.
Fleming, because Isabel's a Fleming.
Okay. All right. Yeah, at this point, Elena's just trying to pretend to be like disgusted, and I say, when Damon's. But they flirt, and I'm glad Stefan finally said something.
Me too. All right, so just a couple more thoughts. Let's talk about Bonnie. So I love that Bonnie's been practicing and that her powers are expanding. So cool, and something I'm excited to track, though I do agree with you that the book thing, while for my purposes would be cool as a bookstore owner and bookseller, wasn't the best way to showcase your skills. I don't blame her for not deactivating the device, but I know this is going to go poorly. I guess she felt this was better than refusing to do it, because genuinely I'm like, could you set the boundary? Because she has been setting boundaries, but then Damon being Damon, he probably would have like, I don't know, threatened her dad, who we've never met, or like threatened Caroline, and Elena would do nothing about it because Elena never does anything when he does things to Caroline, except for before she knows about supernatural things, and she finds she thinks that he's like beating Caroline.
Truly.
And even then she goes to him, the abuser, and leaves Caroline alone. And almost gets her killed.
Horrible stuff. Truly horrible stuff. All right. My hot take is Bonnie's fake out spell is more compelling than her pulling the book off to convince Damon that she's powerful.
Facts.
I do like that Isobel acknowledges Bonnie's power earlier in the episode when she's giving Elena the rundown of all of her friends and says she's gonna stay. She's like, gonna stay away from that one. Like witchy, what did she say? Like witchy best friend.
I think
gonna
she's
stay
like
away from that one.
I think she's like gonna stay clear. Yeah, whatever. Stay away, stay clear.
Whatever she says. But like, and as she should. As a vampire, she should watch out for Bonnie. Because what I will say is, do not mess with a witch. And that's honestly a PSA to everyone, even today. Just don't do it. Don't do it.
All right. I just have one more note, which is poor Caroline continues to be in the dark about the supernatural. In all caps, when is she going to be clued in, right? Like, Bonnie's not telling her about, like, in actuality that she's a witch, right? So Bonnie's being very cryptic with her in this conversation. She doesn't know about vampires, even though she was dating / being fed on and abused by and like mind controlled by one for a long time. She found Vicky's dead body, which was a vampire's dead body. She got kidnapped shortly by Logan Scumfell when he was a vampire, right? Like, I don't understand why no one is telling this girl who is like, you can make the argument that someone like Matt or Tyler, as far as the show's gone so far, are kind of on the periphery of the supernatural things happening. But, like, Caroline is in the thick of it. She's just unbeknownst to her. And she doesn't get to consent in any of it, and I really struggle with it.
I'll do you one better. Her mother is the sheriff. Her mother should, even though I know that there was that funny line,
and she's a founding family member.
And she's a founding family member, but I know there was that funny line when, like, Sheriff Forbes goes to the Salvatore boarding house to talk to Damon about the vampire stuff, and Damon says that, like, Stefan doesn't know about it, and she's like, yeah, like, better leave the kids out of it. But, like, should you though? Like, I think at a certain point, as, like, a founding family member or, like, a founding family in general, like, you should maybe, like, I don't know, especially when the activity starts to increase again, the second you see someone with a sus bite.
The second a vampire kidnaps your daughter.
Like, exactly. Like, wouldn't you maybe be, like, wanting to prepare them, wanting to make sure, like, so I also think this is not only on Elena and co for not bringing Caroline into the like, into the fold, but, like, that's on her mother, too.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree.
Because, like, she should have done that.
Yeah.
Especially with them being alone. Like, they're not that, like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems like they just live, the two of them together. So, like, they got to stick by each other. Like, she should be protecting her daughter at all costs.
And instead, she's just never there for her big moments.
No. SMH.
I think you just have.
There was just one more.
Yep.
And this is just, like, a very kind of, and will dovetail us into, like, well, one, the end of our episode today, but also into, like, our final episode that we'll be recording tomorrow that you'll find in a week after today. I really, really like how they wove everyone back into the story to prepare for the final episode. Everything fits, like, pretty nicely. Like, I do feel like it fits all very nicely together, other than the tomb vampires. That's the only thing that I do not think. So my hot take is they don't still fit, even though they are definitely still fucking around somehow. But all the other characters are here, and I love it. And I'm excited to get into the last episode.
Me too.
All right.
All right, favorite line from the
Let's do
episode.
it.
I can go first since I'm already
You got
there.
it.
I'm not going to give the device to Isobel so she could give it to John, who's going to turn it to kill me. I like being a living dead person, Damon Salvatore.
I do really like that one.
Yep.
It's a good one. All right. So mine's a little, like, 1-2 step here, but it works because it's all related. So, Damon, did words completely escape you? Rick: no, I was a little too distracted by my dead vampire wife to ask any questions. And then there was the honorable mention, and I forgot about this one, where it was the, hold on, I'm going to find it. Hold on. It's not piano lessons, honey. And I wish that I had thought of that.
That is a really
but
good one.
That's actually better than what I had. And so I will change it and be like, it's not piano lessons, honey. It's really funny. Damon gets
so
the
good.
best lines. He really does. All right. Fuck,
Okay.
marry, kill. Who you killing, who you fucking, who you marrying. And
Okay.
did I do it in the right? No, I don't know if I did it in the right order.
All right.
Go ahead.
I know. I got it. Cute up. I'm going to fuck Isobel.
Okay. Admirable.
I mean, she's sexy. She's seemingly queer. She's bitchy, but it works for me.
Yeah.
Mother, may I?
Yeah.
I'm going to marry Caroline.
Of course.
I'm marrying Caroline because she's like the true Libra sun mediator, but also like no bullshit, right? Like she's like, I didn't drive, so Matt, get in the car with Tyler. You're going to the hospital now. End of story. And I really like that. And I want her there in any time of like crisis because I think she's the kind of person who's just going to like figure out what needs to be taken care of and nothing else is going to matter.
Yeah.
And then I'm killing Damon.
Okay. Tell us why.
I'm mostly killing him because I really hate his whole fucking reaction to Stefan trying to have a real conversation with him about like, we're not going to do what we did in the past. And, you know, I hate his whole like, well, when Elena does need a friend to talk to, like, like it's just, he basically could put on, like, it's not on his face the whole time, but he basically has a shit-eating grin. And it's just, it's skeezy all around. So I also feel like there weren't super killable people in this episode, but I'm killing him because I want him to stop fucking flirting with Elena and to be nicer to his brother. And you know what? He made that one comment about Caroline, so fuck him.
That's fair.
What about you?
Well, I will be fucking Damon.
Okay.
Because
we did see those abs. Do you want to be Sherry and play strip poker with him?
I would like to not only play strip poker with Damon like Sherry did, but I would also like to be that close to his face in the way that him and Isobel were close to each other. Because, oh my God, it was very hot. Okay, who I am marrying. I'm gonna marry Rick because
you're like really have a thing for Rick.
I love Rick. I can't wait to see the tallies at the end.
Oh yeah, by the way, I've been tallying. I wish I'd thought of this sooner, but I only thought of it in the last couple weeks. So I went back and re-listened to all of our episodes so far for the season, and I've tallied up who Brenna and I have fucked, married, and killed, so that we'll have data for all of you and ourselves after season 1.
I literally can't wait to see what the data is. And it's going to be me marrying Rick a bajillion times.
It is a lot of you marrying Rick. And I almost always marry Caroline or Stefan. You add more. I tend to recycle fuck, marry, kills.
Yeah.
You tend to add new people in constantly.
Well, are you ready for my final one? Because I have an abstract concept for you, if you will allow.
Yeah, we make the rules.
No rules. Except for ours. The ones that we make for our podcast. I am killing the 2 vampire plot.
Wait, I love that.
Like, I'm killing it. I'm killing it. I'm done.
It's gone.
It's staked.
Amazing.
A collective staking to all of you 2 vampires because I fucking hate that storyline.
I love that.
Thank you so much.
That's fantastic.
Thank you for allowing me to be abstract.
Of course. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap for today.
It sure is. And as a reminder, you can follow us online, and it's pretty much a bop and a blast and all of the things in between over there. Please join us at Hello Sister Podcast on Instagram and Threads. Or if you would like to write us an email, you can do so at hellosisterpodcast1864@gmail.com.
I want to thank you, Brenna, for almost always keeping your humanity intact. And as always, a huge thank you to our husbands, Alex and Dwight, for all of your hard work.
Thanks, guys. And of course, we couldn't go away today without saying thank you, Christina, for not lying to me about dispelling a vampire weapon.
Never.
Like, you would never. You wouldn't. And also, of course, most importantly, for all of you who are tuning in here, thank you for listening and watching Hello Sister. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye. Hello Sister is written, directed, and hosted by Christina Rosso-Schneider and Brenna Dinon. Graphic designs are by Alex Schneider. Music is written and produced by Dwight Evan Young. Sound design and video are recorded and produced by Dwight Evan Young and Brenna Dinon. Hello Sister Podcast is a Bad Day Media production.
I want pizza.
Do you know Mary Kate and Ashley? I mean, like, I know you know Mary Kate and Ashley, but do you know Mary Kate and Ashley?